give you any money. You moved it to the street, and the city took it away.
Is their situation beyond repair?
Did you move the car to the street?
Yes, when I was done fixing it.
It was not operable. I have pictures right here where you took every part out of my car.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Laurie Danielson is suing Sarah Kolosky for the value of her car and impound fees.
Order. All rise. It's case number 249 on the calendar in the matter of Danielson versus Kolosky.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Miss Danielson, how do you know Miss Kolosky?
My best girlfriend, her mother, and I've known each other for 43 years.
And what kind of work do you do for a living?
I'm a stay-at-home mother.
How do you support yourself?
My significant other, he pays all the bills. He has a good job, but he's always gone, so it's better for me to stay home.
What do you know about being a mechanic?
I've always worked with cars. I'm more of a tomboy. And so with my father and friends and family, I always try to work on cars, and it just became a love of mine.
Okay. So, Miss Danielson, you bought a lot. According to your complaint, you spent $2,200 on the car.
Correct.
You did that in May of this year, and shortly thereafter, the car overheated and was no longer drivable, according to you. So, according to your complaint, you gave the car to Miss Kolosky. When the car stopped running, she was supposed to fix the car, and you promised to pay her for parts and labor. On what date did you have the car towed to her house?
I believe it was June 28th when she picked me up from my house, went out to the dealership, and towed it from there.
Now, did Miss Kolosky tow the car back to her house, or did you have a towing company do it?
Nope, she said that somebody owed her a good deed, so they got the flatbed and they towed it for nothing from my house to the dealership and back to her house.
Okay, now, what your complaint is as follows. At some point, your car was towed because it was deemed abandoned. It was on the street.
Correct.
And you believe that that's Miss Kolosky's fault, and you weren't able to get the car out of...
Actually, Your Honor, I have it from the city that I had until August 4th to collect the car. I was there on August 1st, letting her know I would be on or...
Just a second, I don't care.
Okay.
Now, did you have the car on the street or on your property?
It was still on my property.
Until what date did it remain on your property?
Until the 1st, in which I had let her know that it had to be
Just a
removed.
second. Property, who gave you notice that the car had to be moved?
It was actually a city violation. It was an ordinance. Vehicles that are not registered to that property can only remain on there within 48 hours. And so I tried to get an extension as much as possible. I actually have photos of the vehicle on my property as well.
Don't show me photos.
Yes.
Listen to what I want.
I'm sorry.
I want the letter from the city indicating you had to have the car moved.
Yes, ma'am. That's all it is.
I don't want all of this. I want the letter from the city that
Here,
said...
there's actually 3 of them.
Great. I'll see all
Okay, that's
three.
what I was going to provide. That's the first one. Here's the second one. And then here's the third one. And then I do also have this.
Okay, so you got your first notification when they conducted an inspection of your property, and that was on July the 18th.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so one of your neighbors must have complained to the city that this old car was someplace.
Actually, the whole entire neighborhood was kind of being swept. It was just kind of a cleanup thing, yes.
You were first noticed for this on July 20th for an inspection that was conducted on the 18th.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I want you to show me the communication that you moved by July 27th, because your first date was July 22nd. Then they gave you an extension, evidently, of that.
Yes, and then I do also have this as well.
Okay, listen to what I want.
Yes.
Put the paper down.
Okay.
What I want is the communication between you and the plaintiff indicating that the car had to be moved. Based on the first one.
Yes, ma'am. Unfortunately, I do not have any text messages. My phone, my cell phone, actually the hard drive crashed, and I just purchased one 2 days ago.
Okay, everybody always has that problem.
That's definitely understandable.
Now, when was the first time that you were advised that the car had to be moved?
August 1st.
Was the first communication you had?
First communication that I had to get it out of there, $700, otherwise she would tow my car within 2 hours, and I have it on text message.
I'd like to...
Ma'am, may I add something?
No.
I have 70 on here, so I gotta find the right one.
She has the paperwork prior to that date saying...
No, I do not.
It's on the very top. She had said that she
Here's the one I
had the
received.
same exact paperwork.
I'd like to see it.
That's
That
what
she
I got.
has it right there.
Oh,
And
no.
that's one I personally gave to her, ma'am, which is prior to that
Miss
date.
Danielson, listen to me very carefully.
Yes,
Are you listening?
yes.
I want to see the first time you were notified by the defendant that there was a problem. On what date?
August 1st.
Ma'am, the date on there, obvious, it does
Show
of
me.
course say.
Show me.
The one she just provided with you, it says the 27th. The actual date was the 27th.
No, that says that this was to, I assume, your boyfriend.
Yes.
This doesn't say it went to her. Do you have proof that it went to her as well? Had you registered the car? Did the car have plates? Did the car have some mechanism of identification so that you could be sent a notice that the car had to be moved?
Yeah, I got the title. It was in my name, everything.
Well, are you telling me that you didn't get a notification from Brooklyn Park?
No, I did not. I got that copy from Sarah stating I had till the 4th to get it off of her property.
Ma'am.
And that was the first time I heard it.
Okay, now.
Yes.
Now I want you to show me what proof you have that she was notified before August 1st.
All I have as far as that is the fact that I provided her with one of my papers that said that the vehicle had to be removed by the 1st. And she had even came over to my house on the 28th promising to pay me some of the money for the work that I have done so I can ensure the vehicle was off my property by the 1st.
By the 4th.
Just a second. So what you're telling me is that the car was on your property, you tried to get some payment, she didn't give you any money.
No, ma'am.
Well, did you move the car to the street?
Yes, when I was done fixing it.
You moved it to the street.
Yes, ma'am.
On what date?
The 1st.
And on the 1st, they came and put...
I have
on
pictures.
Just a second.
Okay.
They came and took the car.
I actually have a police report in regards to this, where they actually had attempted to contact her. The city of Brooklyn Park actually removed it.
I would like to see it. From your property or
No,
from the
ma'am,
street?
from the street.
Okay, so you moved it to the street? Well, that's what I said.
Yes, ma'am.
You moved it to the street, and the city took it away.
On the 4th, yes, ma'am. On the 1st,
Would you
I put
just-
it to the street.
It's right there. Whoops.
It was impounded on the 3rd.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and it was on the street. Did you tow the car to the street or move it to the street?
I drove it once it was operable.
It was not operable. I have it. Pictures right here where you took every part out of my car.
Yes, those pictures were actually taken, I believe, on the 28th
There's
when
no
she had
such
came to
word.
my residence.
There's no such word.
I'm
They were
sorry.
taken. Pictures
Sorry.
were taken.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Okay, now, you moved the car to the street.
Yes.
On the street.
Yes.
Did you take out any parts that you had put in which had not been paid for by the plaintiff?
No, ma'am.
So the car was capable of being started and moved.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't believe you. How much money had you invested in the car?
Approximately $200.
And you went to the plaintiff at the end of July and asked her for some money.
I had been asking since the beginning.
You went to her, according to you, on the 28th and asked her for some money. That's what you told me a moment ago.
Yes, ma'am, when
What
she
did
had
she
came
say?
to my home.
I thought you said you went to her home.
No, ma'am. She actually got a ride from an elderly lady, and she came to my home to review exactly what I had done and observed everything, and she was ecstatic.
Just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
We're going to finish this very quickly. We're going to either finish it painlessly or painfully.
Yes, ma'am.
So just answer my questions.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
They told her not to drive the vehicle unless the coolant was full. She did not do that. That was the reason why her engine seized up, was because of her negligence.
Is that true?
That's true.
That you didn't put coolant in the car?
No,
And later today,
You let your dog go over to sniff her dog.
I let the dog approach her dogs.
And one of her dogs lunged at your dog and bit your dog on the neck.
That's correct.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Laurie Danielson says Sarah Koloski caused her car to be impounded and destroyed. Sarah is countersuing for parts, labor, and tow rental fees.
Now, she came to your house. Did she bring any money with her?
She was supposed to bring $300.
Did she
ma'am.
bring any
No.
money with her? The
No, ma'am.
answer is no. from the date she brought you the car on June 28th until August 1st, had she given you any money?
She had continuously promised, but no, ma'am.
The answer is no. And my question to you is, were you supposed to give her money as her work progressed so that she could buy parts and pay for her labor?
I told her that I would give her the money once I saw the itemized bill, and she never showed me an itemized bill. She showed me a picture of a text of a total bill only, and I asked her for the itemized bill so I could pay for the parts. And I never was shown an itemized bill.
What about her labor?
We hadn't come up to a conclusion yet of how much. All I did was get a text message on August 1st saying I owe $700. Otherwise, within 2 hours, the car would be towed.
Ma'am, if you were able to scroll through that, you would see that she came to my home prior to that.
I'm not listening to you.
And that she was supposed to give
I'm
us
not
money.
listening to you.
Yes, ma'am.
In the street.
No, ma'am.
That's on July 31st. Hard to see, but I pushed it in the street, and then you say, laugh out loud, and then there's some curse word.
Yes.
That's what it says.
Yes.
Not drove it in the street, you pushed it in the street.
Yes. But on the 1st, it was operable. I removed it off my property because I had a siphoning issue in my neighborhood, and they had actually gotten my vehicle 3 different times since her vehicle was on my property, and that's an additional reason why I wanted it off so bad.
I understand.
Because,
I understand your problem.
Yes, ma'am.
But you have a responsibility once the car is on your property to safeguard it, because that's what you said you would do. And now you maybe were frustrated because you didn't get any money from her on the 31st. And you were going to start to be fined $200 a day for every day that the car remained on the property, because that's what it says in here.
yes, ma'am.
But you're really responsible for her car getting towed.
I did let her know that it was off my property.
Show me.
It just said on the 31st, the vehicle was not on my property. So she knew it was no longer on my property. So she would have to find a way to bring it home.
Okay, great. How much did you pay for the car?
I think you have it up there.
It's $2,200.
Ma'am, do you
Correct.
mind if I add something? Unfortunately, due to her negligence of the vehicle, she was told she could not drive the vehicle because the radiator was bad. They told her she did not do that. That was the reason why her engine seized up, was because of her negligence. They offered her $500. That's all her vehicle was worth to them at that point in time.
Who offered her $500?
The dealership, for a trade-in value.
Is that true?
That's true.
That you didn't put coolant in the car?
No, that is not true. The coolant was filled. I still have the coolant in my...
Is it true that the dealership said that they were prepared to give you $500 trade-in for the car?
Correct, if I could buy another car, but I had no money because I took a loan out on this one that I'm still paying for that I don't have car of.
Okay, you could return this to her, please. Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
I say friendly, and people will say, oh, yes, they're very friendly. And I'm looking at the tail is down, and I can see their canines. And I say, no, not friendly enough for me, and I keep walking. But you let your dog go up to her dog. Why should she be responsible for that?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Lori Danielson says Sarah Kolaski caused her car to be impounded and destroyed. Sarah is countersuing for parts, labor, and tow rental fees.
I have to assess the value of the car. Now, she paid $2,200 for the car, but the car, when you brought it to her, was not working. So it's no longer worth $2,200. Maybe that's what it's worth. It's certainly not worth what you paid for it, because when you paid for it, you drove it off the lot, correct?
Correct.
And in order to get it to her house, she had to come and tow it. Also correct. So it was not drivable. So it was really worth actually nothing at that point, except the $500 that the dealership offered to give to you.
That's fine. I just wanted to show you these pictures.
I don't want to see any pictures.
That's fine.
I don't want to see any
I
pictures.
also have a KBB of her value of the vehicle.
Which is what?
Her vehicle was only worth approximately $344.
Okay, well, they offered her $500 for it. That's what it's worth. Okay, now, I don't know what they're coming after you for. They probably auctioned off the car for parts or whatever they did, but you're entitled to $500. Okay, and you're not entitled to take her car and push it onto the street, because when you take the responsibility of a car, you have to maintain its safety. And if you had towed it back to her house and said, now it's on your property and I'm going to sue you for my parts and labor, for whatever you put into the car, you could do that.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
you can't take a car and push it out on the street.
But it had to be removed unless I was going to be financially
Judgment for the plaintiff for
responsible.
the amount of $500.
Ma'am, I
We're
spent money
done.
on her vehicle.
You shouldn't have pushed it out on the street.
Oh my God, whatever.
Parties are excused. You may step off.
I believe that since I spent money and I spent time rebuilding this woman's engine,
She was going to help me out, and she gets good deals on parts and everything.
I should have been working on her car.
And I told her either way, way, one way or another. I make sure that she got
When I have kids to worry about, I took time out of my life for her car, and I just think it's ridiculous.
money for her labor and her time.
Never give family favors.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Carroll versus Farr. Step forward.
Fiona Carroll is suing fellow dog owner Linda Farr for vet bills resulting from a dog attack during a hike.
Mr. Carroll, were you in fact holding the leash on your dog?
Yes, I was, ma'am.
Then why don't you step over here? You and your wife were walking your dog on a leash. The defendant was sitting on a stoop.
I was standing, and I had my two dogs, one sitting and one laying down next to
Okay,
me.
so you were standing.
I was standing.
Were you in front of your house?
We were on a fire road, and I have a picture of the fire road that we were standing on.
I'd like to take a look at it. And your dogs were both leashed.
Yes.
You were standing because you were letting his dog pass?
Correct. I was coming out of the canyon from a hike with my dogs, and they were coming down the fire road.
Okay, so you stopped.
Are both.
Is that correct?
It is
Yes.
correct.
Okay, so she stopped.
Correct.
And you were walking
Correct.
with your dog on a leash.
Correct.
Your dog went over to, according to your wife,
Yeah, I didn't.
Is that what happened?
Exactly what happened. I didn't feel any. She didn't
I
make
don't
any
care what you
commands or
feel.
anything. Or
I don't care what you feel. It's not important to me. You let your dog go over to sniff her dog.
exactly. I let the dog approach her dogs.
Right. And one of her dogs lunged at your dog and bit your dog on the neck.
That's correct.
And that's the story.
Correct.
Good. Shh, just a second.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, Miss Farr is not responsible for your vet bills. Both dogs were leashed. She knew enough to stop and let you pass. For whatever reason, she held her dogs. There was no language between the two of you.
No, she was having a conversation with my wife. She didn't give me any warnings or anything.
She doesn't have to give you a warning.
that her dogs.
She doesn't have to give you a warning. Before you let your dog go up to sniff her dog, you're supposed to say, friendly?
The dogs
That's
had
what,
played together
just
before.
a second.
So.
If they played together before, then she certainly had no notice that one of her dogs was going, if they played before. But before I have a little, and when she passes another dog, I pull her back and I say, friendly? And sometimes people will say, oh, yes, they're very friendly. And I'm looking at the tail is down, and I can see their canines. And I say, no, not friendly enough for me. And I keep walking. But you let your dog go up to her dog. Why should she be responsible for that?
Her dog lunged. She was standing here, and from the side of her all the way over. Our dog was not close enough to hurt her. He had the dog on the leash.
No. What he said to me, madam, was, and that's what it says in the complaint, that your dog went over to sniff.
Move towards.
Yeah, your case is dismissed. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
The judge's patience is wearing thin.
What'd you do with the car?
I gave it away.
Your Honor, she told me she bought. Sorry.
I'm having too much joy here.
Okay.
Next Judge Judy.
I think it was a good decision, and my dogs did nothing except what I asked them to do, which was to sit next to me and wait till they passed.
Our dog moved towards her dog, and her dog lunged in front of her and ripped.
And their dog did lunge at my dog towards me, and that's when my dog
Chest.
I would feel bad if any dog gets injured, because I love all dogs, so for that reason, yes, but I wasn't responsible for that.
And I was worried if it was a small child, what if that child had reached out towards her dog? It could have been a horrible situation.
My dog's around children all the time, grandchildren, all that. My dog is completely safe.
He's okay. You know, it took 3 months for it to heal, but he's okay now.
I'm glad our dog's doing better, and I wish them all the best.
A handyman's bargain remodel.
You hired him for $100.
Yes.
And you didn't like the work he did. Surprise.
But there was more this mom wasn't happy with.
You thought he was inappropriate with your daughter.
She said he lifted his shirt and showed me gunshot wounds.
And this ex-con gets concerned.
She took out a restraining order against me to start off with.
He just got out of prison.
I did fall into using drugs. My life spiraled downward faster than you can imagine.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom. of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Cynthia Martinelli is suing handyman Matthew Lewis for a refund of his fee, property damage, and lock change fees.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 176 on the calendar in the matter of Martin, and you may be seated.
Ms. Martinelli, you hired the defendant to do some work in your house. According to what I read, you had seen him doing some work cleaning out the gutters in a neighbor's house. You liked the work that he was doing. You hired him to do the same work in your house because the quote that you had gotten was substantially higher to do the same work that Mr. Lewis said he would do for you for $60.
$60, yes, ma'am.
He did the work. You were satisfied with the work. You said you had another project for him to do in your house, and that was to replace a sink and vanity in your bathroom. And you made a price with him to do that work. The price was?
$100, Your Honor.
$100. And what was he supposed to do for the $100, Ms. Martinelli?
He said he would, the new one was in the garage. He would take out the old one and put the new one in.
And did that require any plumbing?
Yes, well, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And were you going to hire another plumber to do that?
No, he said he could do it.
Well, that's fine. Well, that's quite a savings. So you see someone who is cleaning out gutters on a ladder. You like the work that they're doing, and you know how expensive it would be if you had to hire a plumber to come in to do that work. It probably would have cost you 5 or 6 times that.
Correct.
So you hired him for $100.
Yes.
And you didn't like the work he did. Surprise. Surprise, surprise. Okay, now you're suing him, and you're suing him for the marble top. He dropped it and broke the marble top for the vanity, and he didn't finish the job, forcing you to hire someone else to come in and do the job.
Correct.
All I want to know is, tell me about the marble top. Did it come in a separate box?
It was one box, the vanity and the marble top. And I asked him, I have a dolly. You can use the dolly to carry it in. And he said, no, I can carry it in on my own. And he lugged it in and then dropped the box.
Okay. And Mr. Lewis, do you see what a fair person I am?
Yes, Your Honor.
Fair. That is my middle name. Did you drop the box?
No, ma'am, I did not. As I was carrying the box, you could hear a piece jingling on the inside, and I said, that doesn't sound good. There was a piece rattling inside the box. When we opened the box, she was with me. We opened the box. There was a foam insert on each corner. There was a piece of foam insert that was not there. When we took it out of the box, it had a chip. She said, is it on the inside corner or outside corner?
She was there when you opened the box?
She was right next to me, in her living room.
Where had you purchased this from?
Home Depot.
How did you get it home?
That was transported in my daughter's car.
By whom?
My daughter and myself.
And was it in a crate?
It was in a big, heavy box, yes, ma'am.
Had you opened the box before Mr. Lewis arrived?
No.
Did you see him drop the box? Look at me.
Yes.
Did you see him drop the box?
No, ma'am.
So you don't know whether the marble top was cracked or not cracked before you brought it home?
It wasn't jingling. There was no noise in it.
I don't care.
Okay.
You didn't see him drop the box?
No.
Did he remove the old vanity?
Yes.
Did
now,
he
I did see him put the box down on the floor like that.
Ms. Martinelli,
but not.
Well, now you're changing your story. So now I know that you're as sweet a lady as sweet a lady as you look. The first story that you gave me was not truthful. You're talking here about he dropped the box. You told him to use a dolly. He didn't use a dolly. He said, I can carry it. And then he dropped the top and it broke. Well, that's a lie. And if you lie to me, all you have to do is lie to me once. He says you were there when he opened the top.
When he put the box on the floor, he dropped the box.
No,
he opened it up.
That's not a drop.
And it was cracked.
Okay. So far, he owes you nothing. I'm going to repeat my question. Did he disassemble the old vanity and put it in your garage?
I had already left to go to Home Depot to get the replacement. Yes, he did, while I was gone.
The answer is yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened when you came home?
When I came back, he was in the bathroom, and he had already taken out the old vanity, and, you know, it was a mess. And he carried in the other one, and meanwhile, I just let him do his job. I wasn't looming over him.
Just tell me what happened on that date. So you got it out of the car. Now, so who took the new top out of the car?
I don't recall if it was myself or all of us.
I took it out, Your Honor.
So he removed the vanity, the old one, disconnected it.
Right.
And took the new vanity and brought it into the house.
Correct.
Right now, he's earned his $100, as far as I'm concerned. Now, let's go. What's next?
So basically...
Not basically. I don't want to hear basically, okay. Miss Martinelli. I want to hear what's next. I want to hear why you think you have a claim against him.
Well, he was texting me. He would be...
Not texting you. I want to know what happened.
He didn't finish the job.
Just a second. Now, he's got the vanity inside in your bathroom. And what happened next?
He had emergencies. He said he had to leave to go pay someone he owed $100 to.
Fine. At what time was this?
This would be 7:26. He needed more.
No.
On 7:25?
7:25.
It would have been in the afternoon.
Well, you went back to Home Depot. That takes time.
Yes, ma'am.
He takes the thing out. You go to Home Depot. You come back. At what time did he say, I have to leave now? I brought it in to the bathroom. Now I have to leave. I have to go pay somebody money. I would like my $100, which you gave him. What time? If you can't remember, I'm going to ask him.
It would be later in the afternoon.
So later in the afternoon. Give me a time later. 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Monday, it was on the Sunday. The job was started on a Monday. The reason the job did not get complete, she told me that she was donating the old one, so don't break it. I took it out on a dolly, the bottom, put it in her garage, very neat, on a box off to the side. The reason the job didn't get complete, all that was left to be done was 2 pieces of trim.
I'm asking you a question. What time did you leave and say, I have to go?
Well, I didn't leave because of an emergency. She didn't have the plumbing fixtures to finish the job. She said she was going to pick those up either that night or tomorrow.
Okay, so you left because she didn't have the plumbing fixtures. Exactly what plumbing fixtures did she need, Mr.
When you
Lewis?
put the faucet in, the old one was one piece. It was soldered. They connect to the hot water underneath the sink and to the cold water. That's the only plumbing that you needed to do on this job. The new one had the top, but there were no connectors. The connectors that would run from the sink to the outlet in the wall.
You're shaking your head as if that is correct. So you did not have the required plumbing to complete the installation.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so he left.
Yes.
Now, in between that time, what did you do?
He sent me to Lowe's to get the piece of...
He didn't send you to Lowe's. How old are you?
Well, he said go to Lowe's down the street.
Just a second. He said you don't have the right fixtures, the same place you went. You can go to Lowe's. He doesn't care where you go. Either you go to Lowe's, you go someplace.
He just said
this
Lowe's.
is what you need.
Right.
And what happened next?
He told me what to get. He
Great.
explained what the piece of... And I had the piece of the pipe. And then he called...
So you had the piece of the pipe.
Right.
So now he's waiting, according to you, he's waiting for you now twice because you didn't have things. You went back once to Home Depot and once to Lowe's to get the pipes.
Yes.
Okay, now, let me hear you.
So I waited for him. He said he couldn't do it the rest of the evening. It would be another day.
So he wasn't planning to work at night.
Right.
For the $100 that you were paying him. So he left.
Yes.
In the interim, what happened, Miss Martinelli? Now you have the pipe, and he's coming back. There's no question he was coming back, because even you don't deny he was coming back. In the interim, something happened. You want to tell me what it was, or you want me to surmise what it was? I suggest that you be truthful with me.
Absolutely.
Great. So far, you haven't been 100% truthful with me. I want you to tell me what happened between the time he left because you didn't have the right plumbing fixtures and the next couple of days. Well, let's have it.
The walls were all damaged and all the baseboards and everything was ripped out. And I got so many texts that he had all these multiple emergencies and couldn't come back to finish the job.
Just a second. I would like to see the days that he had multiple emergencies, that he couldn't come back and fix the job.
55 texts, 12 calls, and there's the Verizon letter stating I have a basic phone that...
In this, I want to see exactly what it says.
I have a basic phone, so it doesn't allow me to do that on my phone. He just kept calling with one excuse after the other.
You want to tell me what this is all about? Because I'm not getting it from her. I'm not getting it from her at all.
The only thing that I have come up with, I was shocked that we were even here.
Just a second. Let's go back. When were you scheduled to go back to finish the job?
That was what was odd. I responded to her 3 times. We responded through text because she didn't answer the landline. Sometimes she'd be outside. She said texting is the best way to get in touch with me. I texted her 3 times saying I can be there tomorrow between 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock.
Do you have that on your text?
I have Boost Mobile. They would not allow me to print it out. I don't save my texts. I do not have them. I had basically sent her 3 texts. I said, I'm getting ready to walk my dogs. If I don't answer or respond, I'll call you when I get back. I sent another text. I haven't heard from you. Nothing.
She had paid you the $100.
I had been paid.
Just a second. You had been paid?
Yes, ma'am.
And you don't have any texts?
I have a basic phone. That's just the list of all the texts.
This doesn't help.
Inundated with texts.
Okay. Fine. So you paid him $100, and for the $100, this is what he did. He took out the old sink and the old vanity. He waited for you because it was broken. So you went to Home Depot. He came back. He took it out of the car, put the old vanity outside, and stored it. He put the new vanity inside, and you didn't have the correct plumbing. You went back, used, I'm not sure. According to you, you went back the same day to get the new plumbing, and he couldn't wait to work that evening. And then he never came back to finish the job. And since he never came back to finish the job, you're suing him for $1,049.
He called and said he needed more money.
Oh, now you have that. This is a new memory that you have.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Tell me when you thought he was inappropriate, because you haven't mentioned that so far.
Well, he lifted his shirt to show her his gunshot wounds and made her feel very uncomfortable.
Good.
From
So she's uncomfortable. And when did she tell you about that?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Cynthia Martinelli says handyman Matthew Lewis owes for a refund of his fee, property damage, and locks. Matthew is countersuing for a false restraining order, lost wages, and harassment.
Oh, this is a new memory. So now he said, I want more money to come and finish the job.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said no.
Yes.
So?
I never heard back. He was
good. Then you hired somebody else. He said, I want more money. One thing is to take out a thing and put it in, and I can do that 1, 2, 3 if all the plumbing things are right, but it wasn't 1, 2, 3. You had a broken unit that he had to wait for until you went.
Yes, ma'am.
I assume they gave you a new one. You didn't tell them that your handyman dropped it. You said it was broken in the package. I assume that that's what you said to Home Depot, because if you didn't say that to Home Depot, they would not have replaced it for free. Right. So when you told me he dropped it and broke it, you told a different story to the Home Depot people. Right. With the same big eyes, the same look, right? Then he waited for you, you came back with it, and you put it in, and I said, where are the rest of the plumbing pieces? All this is for $100. Taking it in the car, taking it out of the car, storing it in the other garage. Now he says, this was supposed to be a one-day job. You want me to come back to finish this? It's going to cost you more money. You say no. Now I'd like to know what you're suing him for. So you hired somebody else to finish it.
He didn't do it correctly. It was damaged.
No, that's too bad. I don't see your expert here about all the damage.
So far.
I want you to tell me this other nonsense that I read in your complaint, that you, A, thought he was inappropriate with your daughter or granddaughter. Was it your daughter?
My daughter.
Your daughter, inappropriate. Tell me when you thought he was inappropriate, because you haven't mentioned that so far.
Well, he lifted his shirt to show her his gunshot wounds. And made her feel very uncomfortable.
Good.
From a
So
robbery.
so she's uncomfortable. And when did she tell you about that?
Well, it was later after he was gone. She said, Mom, he lifted his shirt and showed me gunshot wounds.
Just a second. So, Mom, okay. Now, you still wanted him to come back?
No, I went
you
on
didn't.
to Facebook.
Oh, good. And then you went on Facebook.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you went on Facebook and did what?
I sent a notice out and said, has anyone ever done work for this Mr. Lewis? And I immediately got back 20, 30 hits, and they all said, buyer beware, he just got out of prison. And then they showed me what his charges were, and on and on.
And on and on. So I still don't know why you're here.
Well, because the damage to repair the whole vanity and sink, he ripped out the whole wall, all my baseboard to fix it.
You have no case. I don't believe a word you're saying to me.
I have everything
I don't.
here.
No, you don't. You don't have the person who fixed it here.
I had 3 people fix it.
I don't care if you had 12 people fix it. What you tried to do was to get something for nothing. You tried to get a $600 or an $800 job for $100. That's what you did. My problem is with his counterclaim, which I'm going to hear, because your case is dismissed.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The reason that I had lifted my shirt up, her daughter had showed me a big scar from the surgery she had on her knee. I said, oh, well, I have one of those on my chest.
Did your daughter have a scar on her knee? Just make sure I get an answer from you that is believable.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Cynthia Martin of owing for a refund, property damage, and locks.
Now, what I want to know, Mr. Lewis, is you have a counterclaim. And your counterclaim is that she's spreading rumors around town, and these lies have a direct effect on my income. So there's no question that you're trying to work. I assume that it's true that you have history with the police of being incarcerated. I assume that that's all true.
Yes, it is.
When was the last time you were incarcerated?
I've spent 13 months in prison from April 2013 to 2014.
Since then?
I spent one night in for a probation violation because When I went to my probation...
Don't tell me why. You spent one night in for a probation violation since 2014. What else?
That's it. I did have a trouble past after my gunshot, and the reason that I had lifted my shirt up, her daughter had showed me a big scar from surgery she had on her knee. I said, oh, well, I have one of those on my chest. I was only shot once, and I did fall into using drugs, and I got in a lot of trouble. My life spiraled downward faster than you can imagine. I have a very bad reputation.
Did your daughter have a scar on her knee from a surgery?
I do not.
I'm asking you a question.
No, there's no scar on her knee.
Did your daughter ever have surgery on her knee? Just make sure I get an answer from you that is believable. Did your daughter ever have surgery?
She has had surgery, but there's no scar there.
I'm asking you whether your daughter ever had surgery on her
did.
knee. Slandering you. Show me.
Well, she took out a restraining order against me to start off with. Then she had this posted here.
Can I see the restraining order?
And when I went to court for it, she didn't show up and got dismissed. Secondly, there was...
Just a second.
Okay. Yes, Your
I
Honor.
would like to see what allegations she's making with regard to the restraining order.
Oh, that's the 2 pages.
Just a second. This is outrageous. Why would anybody give you a temporary restraining order based upon this? Just a second. Well, let me see, because right now you can look at me with those big eyes all the time. Right now we've lied several times today. Miss Martinelli, let me tell you, he may be a convicted felon, but so far these are the following lies that you've told to me. A, you told me he dropped the box and it broke. He didn't drop the box. You never saw him drop the box. Then you went back to Home Depot and told them that it came cracked, and therefore they reissued you a new one because it was their fault. This man is not a mind reader. How would he know that your daughter had surgery on her knee unless she told him and showed him what she perceived to be a scar? Then you file a restraining order that I don't understand.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Closed captioning sponsored by Judy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
The contact was, the following has been done to the plaintiff on more than one occasion. Defendant knocked on neighbor's door to clean gutters. Neighbor did not recognize him, allowed him to complete the task. Defendant approached plaintiff and asked if I had worked gutters. Confirmed I did and permitted him to complete the job. Asked defendant if he knew how to remove and install bathroom vanities. Said he did. Had open container of alcohol in his hand at this point. Demanded cash up front, $100 to complete the job. Did a quarter of the work and called 7 times with excuses why he couldn't do the job. Wanted more money.
That's correct.
Actually, Miss Martinelli, you are outrageous. I'm so glad that they dismissed your application for a protective order against him. So thrilled that they did that. So he has 2 causes of action. Money owed for filing a false restraining order because he had to go to work. He had to leave whatever he was doing to go to court. Did you show up for the protective
They told
order?
me I did not need to.
Judgment for the defendant on the counterclaim for $800. Your case is dismissed. We're done.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I mean, the texts, there were, what, 55 texts? I can't come, my dog threw up.
Things of my past.
My grandma tripped. I mean, he always had an excuse.
There's 10 customers that I had. None of them are even contacting me or will return my calls at this point.
And then the phone calls where he would call me, several cussing me out names.
And once that was all brought to my attention, it kind of infuriated me, and I said, look, it's time for me to do something about this.
Frightened me. The policeman came over and said, you need to file a restraining order immediately.
I did have a past, but it didn't have anything to do with her hiring me for the work, and it wasn't my fault that the job didn't get complete.
And also a small claims, which is exactly what I did. I followed the policeman's report.
It's a small town, and that's something that I am trying to overcome, so I go out of my way to try to help people.
I worry about other people he's going to take advantage of.
And do honest work for people, and that's what I was doing for her, and I feel that that came back to kind of bite me.
How much did you pay her in total?
$1,540.
This car seller couldn't wait anymore.
I gave her all day Saturday to come over to pay the last $60.
And then she repossessed the car?
Yes, ma'am, the final $60. Literally.
Now, the judge's patience is wearing thin.
What'd you do with the car?
I gave it away.
Your Honor, she told me she bought... Sorry.
I'm having too much joy here.
Okay.
Judge Judy.
Of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Lexus Scales is suing Charlotte Hammerschmidt for the return of money she paid for a car and punitive damages for repossessing it.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 231 on the calendar in the matter of Scales versus Hammerschmidt.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Miss Hammerschmidt, you were selling a car.
Yes.
What kind of car were you selling?
2004 Saturn Iron.
When had you purchased it?
July 3rd, year 2015.
And who did you purchase it from?
5 Stars Auto Sale in Mount Zion, Illinois.
Whose car was it?
Mine.
Do you have proof of that in the title?
I don't have the title and I don't have the registration.
Why not?
Because when I sold it to Lexi, I gave her the registration and the insurance. So I went with the car.
So she has the title?
No.
Where is the title?
I don't have it. I already gave it away. I gave the car away.
Who's that?
My boyfriend.
Okay, so you bought the car July 3rd, 2015. And when did you put it up?
34.
Did you and your boyfriend both drive the car?
No, I wasn't with him at the time.
What do you mean you weren't with him?
I wasn't with him when I bought the car, and he doesn't drive, so no, he does not drive.
Okay, so you bought it for $3,400 and you sold it to her for $1,600?
Yes.
Why?
Actually, the ad said $1,900, and when I met her, she, you know...
The ad said $1,900, but why in a 6-month period of time were you taking such a loss on the car? I don't understand.
Because I didn't want the car.
Why?
I just didn't want it. It was bad memories. I wanted to get rid of it.
Well, explain to me, what is a car bad memories? Explain that to me.
I thought it was somebody that I thought I was to be with for the rest of my life, and it didn't work out, so I just wanted to get rid of all my memories.
You wanted to get rid of all your memories of him in the car?
Everything. In my house, my car, everything.
Your Honor, she told me she bought... Sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm having too much joy here.
Okay. Sorry.
What do you do for a living?
I'm disabled. I stay at home.
What's the nature of your disability?
Learning.
How long have you been on disability?
Since year 2012.
What did you do before 2012?
I worked at fast foods for a little bit.
And how much do you get from disability to buy a car?
Pay here, buy here.
What does that mean?
You pay your payments at their car dealer.
Well, you didn't pay the car off in 6 months.
No.
That's for sure, that you didn't pay the car off for 6 months. So when you were selling Miss Scales the car, you hadn't paid it off.
Right.
Did
and
you?
she knew that.
Shh. Just a second. So I assume, based upon what you just said to me, you told her that you had not paid off the car.
Right.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much did she tell you was due on the car?
She told me that the down payment that I was paying her of $1,000, she was going to pay the car off. And then after my final $600, she would then turn the title over.
So you gave her $1,000 down?
Yes, ma'am.
And she said, with that $1,000, she was going to pay the car off?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you do?
What do you mean?
What do you do for a living?
Oh, right now, I don't work currently.
Who do you live with? What do
my
you do?
mom.
You live with your mother?
Yes, ma'am, and I'm studying for my CNA. And I also have a 2-year-old daughter that I take care of every day.
You sound like an intelligent young woman.
Thank you.
You met this woman. You know, I wouldn't buy a bridge from her.
Right.
So why didn't you say, with my $1,000 deposit, let me take the $1,000 and I'll go in and pay off the car?
We actually went up there with her.
You did?
She was planning on buying another car, and she showed us the car that she was planning on looking at and planning on purchasing. And she said that unless she had our final $1,000, that she couldn't purchase that car.
Did you speak to anybody else other than her?
The car that we had purchased, and then more about the car that she was looking at purchasing.
So now you spoke with him. So why didn't you say, I'm going to give her $1,000? Does that pay off my car?
I do not know.
You don't know? Okay, now, how much did you pay her in total for the car? You gave her $1,000.
$1,540.
And then she repossessed the car?
Yes, ma'am. The final $60, literally.
You have proof of all the payments?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Do you want the screenshots as well as the timeline? I have messages screenshotted from her.
Sure.
Confirming the payments.
Okay, now, Ms. Hammerschmidt, when you repossessed the car, on what date did you repossess the car?
Early in the morning, June 27th.
Who repossessed it?
I did.
Personally?
Yes.
Who drove it?
She drove it over to my house, and I told Larry Bartley to take off my license plates.
You told the boyfriend who doesn't drive.
Right, to take off my license plates because before all this, I gave her all day Saturday to come over to pay the last $60. And when I got home that night, there was no $60 in the mailbox about 11 o'clock, 10:30.
What'd you do with the car?
I gave it away.
No, that doesn't, especially you. Nobody gives away a car. So I would like you to tell me exactly what happened to the car and with whom does the car now reside?
Mooney got it. I gave it to him. Mooney. I gave him the car.
Just a second. Stand up. What's your last name?
Bartley.
Move over. Who's Mooney?
As my roommate.
Is your roommate?
Yeah.
And you're her boyfriend?
Yeah.
Where do you live? Do you all live together?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's. I didn't ask you a question. So you live with Mr. Mooney and Miss Hammerschmidt?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do for a living?
Industrial construction worker.
Do you get paid in check or cash?
Check.
How long have you been working for the company whose name you'll give me?
About 2.5 months now.
Great. What's the name of the company?
High Tech.
Where are they located?
Decatur.
Decatur what, George?
Illinois.
Decatur, Illinois. Now, how long have you known Mr. Mooney?
About 20 years.
How long has Miss Hammerschmidt known Mr. Mooney?
I believe the same amount of time.
Well, how long have you been her boyfriend?
A year.
So you all knew each other before?
Yeah, from high school.
What does Mooney do?
He's a construction worker.
Now, she gets $700 a month to live on. He's a construction. She gave him the car.
Yeah.
Convince me. Convince me. Now, Mooney, you've known him 20 years, correct?
Yeah.
Correct? Give me his phone number. Cell phone.
I don't know his cell phone number. I have to get it.
You have to get it?
Yeah.
Oh, get it. Get it and just put the phone down. And Bert, while they're doing this extensive investigation, would you please look up this 2004 Saturn? Give me the number.
21793.
Put the phone down. Put the phone down, I said. Turn it off. Now, if I call Mr. Mooney, is he going to tell me you gave him the car or sold him the car?
I gave him the car.
For how much?
For $0.
Is the title now in his name?
Yes.
And when did you do that? In what month?
July. I kept it for 15 days after I took it back.
Okay. Close the phone.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
You went to a friend.
No, a friend.
To live with a boyfriend.
He was not a boyfriend.
Well, was he a boy?
Yes.
And was he a friend?
Yes.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Lexus Scales says Charlotte Hammerschmidt illegally repossessed her car. Charlotte is countersuing for car damages and punitive damages for stress.
Thank you. Well, the very lucky Mr. Mooney has his answering machine on. He must be a very busy guy. Can you tell me what the blue book is on that car?
1550.
Well, he's not there, but I don't believe you anyway. Because if the value of the car is $1,550, you didn't give it to him. No way. Now, you put in $1,540 in
Yes,
this
ma'am.
car? Any other money?
No.
How long did you have the car?
I had the car for 5 months.
$1,600 originally, and she put $1,000 down, and the other $600, and she was supposed to be paid off in May. 3 months, $200 a month.
But I have a
That's
text.
okay, just a second. All that was owing on the car was $60, which clearly, based upon these things, she wanted to give you. You didn't want it, you took back the car and gave it to Mr. Mooney. That's ridiculous. However, she drove the car for 5 months. And if I didn't think that you were a scam artist, I would actually take a lot more off. But I do think that you scammed her out of this money. Now, you drove the car for 5 months.
Yes, ma'am.
So there's some value to you in that. So I'm taking off $100 a month, which is really more than fair.
Okay.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. You have some sort of ridiculous counterclaim. And since you get on with other people's money, I'm not even entertaining it. If the car was dirty, Mr. Moody got himself a present of a dirty car. We're done. Your counterclaim's dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Put up to pay her the final $60. She refused. Her and her husband were outside drinking.
She got stopped with my license plates and my insurance she already got.
I got out of the car to pay her.
Ticket in my car when I had insurance on it.
She had her husband like randomly just come into my car and start taking my license plates off.
You know, I could have gotten in trouble. My car could have got impounded.
She asked me for the keys. I'm like, well, I have the $60 right here. She's like, no, you need to find another way to go. You need to find another to do. And I was just on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere.
What are you laughing about?
Very glad, and glad I get my money.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Green versus Love. Step forward.
21-year-old Mariah Green is suing her former roommate, Mark Love, for the value of dog grooming equipment and lost wages.
Ms. Green, you rented a room or part of a house from the defendant, and you claim that he kept some of your equipment when you left this rental room that was in his house.
Yes.
You're suing him for almost $5,000, which includes the lost wages that you suffered as a result of him keeping your equipment. When did you move into his house?
I moved in April 22nd, 2016.
When did you move out?
I moved out July 6th, 2016.
So you lived there for less than a year.
Yes.
Did you have a rental agreement?
No, we did not. He insisted it wasn't necessary.
Just a second. Well, didn't you pay rent?
Yes, I paid $90 a week.
Just a second. Well, that's a rental agreement. Your rental agreement was, according to you, $90 a week. That's your rental agreement.
Right.
Okay. Did you pay your $90 a week in April?
Yes, when I moved in.
What about May?
Yes.
Every week in May? So
Every single week.
And in June?
Yes.
So you were totally caught up with your rent?
Yes.
Why did you leave on July 6th?
A rural town of Illinois, and also I felt very uncomfortable.
Just a second. So you left because business wasn't panning out?
Yeah.
So where did you go?
I went to Florissant, Missouri.
Where do you live?
I live right on the other side of St. Louis.
You live in St. Louis, is that?
About 20 miles out, yes, ma'am.
And you went
to Florissant, Missouri, about 30 minutes away.
To live with whom?
To live with a former law enforcement, Jeff.
To live with a boyfriend?
No, a friend.
To live with a boyfriend?
He was not a boyfriend.
Well, was he a boy?
Yes.
And was he a friend?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You left this equipment in shed where you were supposed to do dog grooming.
Yes, he had the key, Your Honor.
The shed was the only thing that was locked up. The house was not, so she had no access to the shed.
Well, then how did Miss Green conduct her business?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Mariah Green says former roommate Mark Love owes for dog grooming equipment and lost wages.
Now, were you living in his house?
Yes.
Who else lived in the house?
Nobody, just me and him.
Just the two of you. And how big a house was it?
It's a one-story with a basement.
And did you get there by car?
Yes.
Your car?
Yes,
or
I
his
own my car.
When you left, was Mr. Love at home? Mr. Love was not at home.
No.
And you left this equipment in shed where you were supposed to do dog grooming, is that right?
Yes, he had the key, Your Honor.
Okay.
The shed was the only thing that was locked up. The house
What?
The shed was the only thing that was locked up. The house was not, because I was at work and she had the key. So she had no access to the shed.
So you think I should give her this money?
Absolutely not, Your Honor. She's not losing any work.
No, just a second. Just a second. I'm not talking about her losing any work. She had no lost wages because she said she moved out of your house because business wasn't going the way she wanted it to go.
She had a job.
I'm just curious as to why you volunteered the fact that the shed was locked.
I keep my shed locked because all my tools for work in there, my lawnmower's in there, everything else is in there. It's basically just a storage shed.
Well, then how did Miss Green conduct her business?
She did not. She never used it. The day that she moved in, I helped her move her stuff into the shed, and that stuff never moved the entire time she lived there, nor did she ever use it at all. She didn't need it for work whatsoever.
Well, I was under the impression when I moved there.
I don't care what your impression was. You lived there for 3 months. Did you ever use the equipment?
He didn't set up the shed for me.
Oh, okay.
He said he would.
Great. You know what I think, actually? I think that you have to take this back to... I'm not buying the story.
I can prove to you that I have lost wages.
I'm not buying the story. Do you understand?
Yes.
All I want to do is for you to produce bills for any equipment that was in the storage shed, paid bills for equipment that was in the storage shed, because Mr. Love says that he disposed of the equipment.
Yes.
That's correct.
Just a second. All I want to do is see paid bills for the equipment.
I bought the tub from a certified master groomer, and then
Just
there's
a
the
second.
receipt of my table.
Just a second. I want to see where you paid for any of this stuff.
I paid for the tub in cash, Your Honor, and then that is the Amazon receipt of my table.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
What stuff did you get rid of? A table?
A table, a dog bath, just big equipment that was taking up too much stuff, and too much space in my shed. A shed that I have to get into every weekend. The reason I kept her stuff is because she moved out without my knowledge.
Just a second.
Yeah.
Said she got it for. She got it for $100. Okay. You had no right to dispose of her stuff. Next. Did she pay her rent?
No, the last week she did not.
Which week did she not pay rent?
July 8th, I believe it was.
She said she moved out on the 6th or the 7th.
Right. She stayed that whole week, and she always paid me at the end of the week.
Wrong.
On Friday for the
Fine.
week that she stayed.
She moved out on the 6th of July.
She moved out on the 8th of July. Well, she moved out on the 6th. The 8th is when she owed me her rent, her final week's rent. And when she didn't pay it, that's when I didn't unlock the shed to get her stuff back.
You have to pay her $100, sir, for the stuff that she says she paid $100 for, even though the new condition is $479. I don't know if I believe any of this, but $100 is nuisance value. You can't dispose of her property. You can't dispose of her property.
Well, what if she owes me rent?
And the table?
Just a sec. $100. Sir, if she owes you rent, you sue her. If she, listen to me carefully.
Yes, ma'am.
You said in your papers that she didn't pay you the rent, so you wouldn't give her stuff, and you disposed of it.
I asked her to come get her stuff, and all she had to do was pay me the $90. I would have happily unlocked the shed to get her
That's
stuff.
my judgment. $100 for the plaintiff. Your counterclaim's dismissed.
Wait, Your Honor,
with the
Your
rent.
Honor,
We're
I can
done.
prove that he has lost wages. I lost wages.
As our excuse, you may step out.
Judge Judy continues.
How much did you owe him?
He told me $20. He got upset that I wasn't giving it to him on the spot. He came out of the door with a bamboo stick, and I reached into my closet in self-defense to grab my bat.
Judge Judy.
The line got crossed when she started texting other guys and
He's obsessed with me.
bringing them over to my house, the house that I was nice enough to lend her, a whole room to.
He's obsessed with me. He was trying to get me to stay there. He locked it in there, would not release my stuff to me.
And then she up and moved out, so I never even saw it coming, kind of got blindsided.
Like a month in, where he started drunk texting me, he loved me and was obsessed with me.
I'm about the 4th single guy that she's moved in with. She's basically a con artist.
And I told him I was uncomfortable. I said, please keep it strictly platonic. Please be just a normal, landlord.
She does this to guys. She moves in with them. She finds them off Craigslist. She dates them for a little while.
And he didn't. And then he started sabotaging my relationships with other men on my phone.
And then she up and leaves and expects to get a settlement out of it.
He went on my phone, got their number, and started texting them, pretending he was me.
Have you seen 21-year-olds with their phone? Might as well be glued to their face. There's no way I could touch it.
And then deleted the messages. And the guy would not talk to me to this day because of the things he said to them.
I'm actually pretty glad. $100, I can pay that just to get her stuff out of my shed and be done with this, for sure.
And I'm never getting a roommate off Craigslist again.
The Fender Bender.
She was cutting right in front of me. I was already in the left-hand lane when she came up behind me.
The innocent onlooker.
You got involved because you witnessed the accident.
I was right there, yes.
You want to tell me who's telling me the truth?
But will she get damaged in the process?
The defendant is the blue vehicle. I was behind her.
She's lying.
Somebody who drives around without insurance doesn't speak.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
25-year-old Karen Terrazone is suing fellow motorist Pamela Salazar for causing an accident when she cut her off.
Order. All rise.
Your Honor, this is case number 267 on the calendar in the matter of Terrazone versus Salazar.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
This is an automobile accident case, and each of you claim that the other is responsible for the accident. The accident happened, Ms. Terrazone, on what date?
April 25th of this year, 6:30 p.m.
What kind of car were you driving?
2001 Jetta Volkswagen, black.
When had you purchased it?
Around 2008.
Full coverage, and with what company?
I did not have full coverage.
Did you have liability?
Yes, liability coverage.
With what company?
USAA.
And what kind of car were you driving, Miss Salazar?
A 2003 Chevy Tahoe,
When had you purchased it?
approximately 6 months previous to the accident.
How much did you pay for it?
$2,500?
Was that the total cost of it?
Yes.
Did you pay for it in cash?
Yes.
At the time of the accident, did you have liability coverage?
I did not. My insurance had lapsed the day before.
Which is why we're here. Because if your insurance hadn't lapsed, your insurance would have taken care of.
Correct. My policy was being rewritten and the...
Whatever. But if your policy wasn't being rewritten, we wouldn't be here today because your insurance would have covered the accident and would have paid for her damage. Is that correct?
Probably.
Probably.
They might have found fault with her, though.
Probably not. You want to tell me what happened?
Yes, I was out of my commute from work.
Show me where.
In this diagram here, I was turning left here, and I had a green light. She was in the next lane next to me, right here. She had a red light. So she was at a complete stop. I had the right of way. I was turning left, and she bolted right in front of me, giving me no reaction time to brake, and we hit right on the side here, not bumper to bumper, but to the side. So my right...
So she was going around you?
She was cutting right
in the left-hand lane when she came up behind me.
If you were already in the left-hand lane, then...
Just a second. Just a second. Now you go over there.
Okay, the plaintiff's witness was not in this location. She was actually in front of my vehicle. She's in a small vehicle.
Why don't you tell me where your car was?
Okay, I was in this lane already. This, there's an island that comes out right here. I was in this lane right here. She was not behind me. The witness was in front of me, and I was here. I had the green. As I approached the arrow, it turned yellow. I decided to wait for the next light, and all of a sudden, she slammed into the back of me.
Okay.
It was not in the back of me.
I'm going to dismiss your case if you do it again. Do you understand?
Yes.
PW, plaintiff's witness. You were in a different car.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me your last name.
Goss.
Had you ever met Miss Terrazone before April 25th?
No, I did not.
And you don't know the defendant?
I don't know any of them.
You got involved because you witnessed the accident?
I was right there, yes.
You want to tell me who's telling me the truth?
Yes. Your Honor, I am the yellow vehicle, and the defendant is the blue vehicle.
She's lying. She was in front of me.
I don't want you to speak. Somebody who drives around without insurance doesn't...
With no insurance.
Just a second. Do you know how many cases that I do with people who went one day without insurance and just happened to get into an accident that one day? We cover an entire sweeps period in November with people who just had a lapsed policy. It was being rewritten. The stamp fell off the envelope. All kinds of other things. So let's be quiet. Go.
We were stopped at a red light, as you can see. The light had turned green for the left turn. The cars had started to go, and the cars in these lanes are stopped, and the car that was in front of me, which is the defendant, had turned in front of the car that is plaintiff, and she hit and landed on top of the island that is right there.
Who landed on top of the island?
I did. The plaintiff.
Did you follow these? Because I understand from both people that they tried to move the cars out of the way.
Continued to stay there, pulled up closer to her because they now are even further in front of me. So when I pulled up closer to her and I looked at her to see if she was okay because she was shaken up in her car, they both had gotten out, but it's a very busy intersection. So we then said, is anyone injured? Nobody was injured. Everyone said everyone was fine. We then decided to try and get out of the lanes of traffic.
And you just gave her your information, your contact information. That's how you get. Okay, great. Were you in the car?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. You were in the car with whom?
My mother.
Go over there.
Yes, ma'am. I actually got out of the car when all of this happened with my mother to exchange information. And when we got out, we came over here, and the witness was actually in front of us.
So you're in the left-hand lane already, then?
Shh. Don't. You're not following me. Do you understand?
Yes. Sorry.
When you got out of the car,
Yes, ma'am.
the witnesses, Miss Goss, her car moved.
Yes. And she was in front of us when the accident happened, and I was actually the one that got her number from her, and her name, it's in my phone, and she told me that she was in front of us when she saw the accident, and I even then asked her, like, how could she have been in front of us and seen the accident if we're in a Tahoe and she was in a smaller car, and she was in a smaller car, too.
You still didn't tell me how the accident happened. We're not questioning this witness.
Okay.
Because you claim that your mother was not at fault.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right?
Right.
Well, then I want you to stand back there now, because I gave you a chance over there at that poster. I want you to tell me where you were going.
Home.
On what street do you live?
My mom was at work.
And where were you?
I was at work with her.
Do you work together?
No, ma'am.
So you had gone to her place of business?
Yes, ma'am.
To pick her up?
No.
She was driving?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you do that often, meet her at work to drive home?
Yes, ma'am.
How often?
Once a month.
Why?
She does nails, and she does my nails, and I get my nails done about once a month.
So you were going home?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know where 55th Street West is? This street, where is it in relation to 55th Street West, Miss Goss?
Probably 5 miles north, or west, I should say.
5 miles west?
West. We were heading west.
I was turning left on 20th Street West.
You were turning?
Heading south.
Yeah.
You were heading south?
Yes.
Okay. What I'm trying to figure out is a reason for the defendant to change lanes to make a left turn. Yes?
We lived just off M, and we were on J. So we were turning.
So there's a reason for you to turn left?
Yes, ma'am.
So wonderful. That makes it so wonderful. So there was a reason for you to turn left, and if there was a reason for you to turn left, can you explain to me why you were in a lane that was supposed to go straight? Don't speak.
We were in a lane that was supposed to turn left. We were already in the left-hand turn lane when the accident happened.
Now go over there and show me where you were. Now go over there and show me where you were.
All the cars are a little forward. We were more back here. We were about here. And this island is like kind of turns like this.
Right.
For the left-hand turn lane. And so we were right about here.
You were behind the plaintiff. Is that what you're saying?
No, we were, where she is here. But in real life, we were in front of her.
Just a second.
All these cars are pushed forward a little bit.
That's fine.
So
all the cars
all of them this way.
All the cars are pushed forward.
Right.
Were you in front of her or behind her?
In front.
You were in front of her.
Yes.
So now I want you to explain to me how you had an accident if you were in front of her. Come on.
Okay, so we were in front of her, and we were already in the left-hand turn lane, and she came, and she, like, honked at us and hit us and bounced off and landed on the island. And she literally bounced off, like I felt it, and I had time to turn around after she bounced off before I got out of the car, and I turned around and I saw her, like, on the island through the back window.
So I still don't understand how, if she was behind you.
Right.
I don't understand how the accident happened.
I have a picture, Your Honor, of the...
What part of be quiet don't you understand? I don't understand how the accident happened.
I don't understand either.
Good, very good. Okay, if your mother had insurance like she should have had.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
I was throwing some wood chips at him, and then he started throwing wood chips at me. And then I took the hat off his head, and then I put it...
Okay, so you took the hat off his head and put it in the...
trash.
Garbage.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Karen Terrazone says fellow motorist Pamela Salazar cut her off in a left turn lane. Pamela is countersuing for her damages.
Now, can I have a bill for the car, please? Is the car working now?
No.
Is it totaled?
Wouldn't say total, it just needs the repairs, and then it would be working fine. Because where the impact happened is the car has a turbo in it. So where it happened was on the side of the car, on the right fender, and that's where the turbo cooler happened to be. So it...
Would you check and see what the value of the 2001 Jetta is?
I also have an estimate for my counterclaim.
Your counterclaim's dismissed.
Okay.
We don't reward people who drive around without insurance. Okay, I mean, you can buy one that probably has lower mileage for less,
But my car was paid off, Your Honor.
I understand that.
So
I
I
understand
definitely
that. I'm
don't-
going to give you the money to repair it.
Okay.
Because its value is greater than the amount of replacement.
Right.
$21.47 is what your estimate is. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, I'm a little disappointed because the plaintiff was lying and her witness lied, so I hope they can live with themselves and sleep at night.
She was definitely lying, and it's pretty sad that her mom was allowing her daughter to lie for her.
About the location of the car and how the accident happened.
I'm very disappointed for a mother to be here with her child and to encourage that behavior.
Slow down.
Drive safe.
Always have insurance.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Glenn versus Harrison. Step forward.
Marty Glenn is suing the mother of her son's former schoolmate, Catherine Harrison, for the cost of damaged glasses.
I'd like the gentleman to come up
Okay,
and
stand
stand
up,
next to
gentlemen.
their moms. And actually, their moms are not necessary parties for me because neither one of you were there in school when this incident happened. Is that correct?
Correct.
What's your first name?
My first name is Parker.
And yours?
Jordan.
Now, Parker and Jordan used to be friends. They're 13 years old?
Yes.
And they've been friends for how long, Parker?
It's 4 months.
From school?
From school, yeah.
Okay. And there was an incident in school when you guys were playing around. Now, Jordan, I want you to tell me what happened on that day.
So I was sitting on top of the slide, talking to my friends during PE because we had free time, able to do whatever we wanted. So while I was talking to my friends, Parker came by and he picked up a handful of wood chips and then threw them at me.
Wood chips?
Yes.
Is that what's on the floor of the playground?
Yes. Then he threw them at me. I told him to stop. Then he picked up another handful, threw them at me. And then I came down from the slide, walked up to him, told him to stop. He grabbed my hat and buried it in the trash.
Were you saying anything to each other?
No, I told him, all I did was tell him to stop.
You hadn't had any argument with him that day?
No.
Just playing around?
Well, the first time he threw it, I thought he was, and then he threw it again, and I started getting agitated. And then he buried my hat in the trash.
Who else was around you?
A couple of my friends.
Did your friends say anything to Parker?
At first they laughed, and then they saw me go down there, and they started to back me up and tell him to stop.
We're just going to stop you right there. Let's get to March 3rd. He's on top of the slide. What's happening?
Okay, so what happened was I was messing around with him, and so...
Okay, now, messing around means something. Around means something different from what it means to a 13-year-old. I want you to tell me exactly what you did when Jordan was sitting on top of the slide.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He said to me, "Do you want to fight?" So I felt uncomfortable, so I kind of just nudged him away from me.
Show me what a nudge is. Would you go stand next to this young man? And I want to see what a nudge is.
Nudge gently, please.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Marty Glenn says her son's former schoolmate, 13-year-old Jordan Bernal, purposely broke her son's glasses.
I want you to tell me exactly what you did when Jordan was sitting on top of the slide.
Well, we were poking fun at each other.
Tell me.
So I was throwing some wood chips at him, and then
So you threw some wood chips at him while he was sitting on top of the slide. And then what did he do?
And then he came down the slide, and then he started throwing wood chips at me.
So he threw them back at you. And?
And then I was down on the ground. Oh, and then so I took the...
Next thing, you reached over, took the hat off his head, and put it in the...
trash.
Garbage.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
And then he started to get mad, so I walked away from the area. I walked out of the playground area into the field, the playground's over here and then the field's over there.
When he started to get mad as you were putting in his hat in the garbage.
Yes.
He was saying to you, stop it.
Well...
He wasn't encouraging you to do it.
No, he got mad after I put the hat in the trash because I didn't see him start to get mad only after he
Well,
put
you
it.
grabbed the hat off of his head, and what did you immediately do with it when you grabbed it off his head?
Well, I ran around with it.
Okay, so you grabbed it off his head, and then you ran around with it.
Yeah.
For how many minutes?
It was about just like 30 seconds or so.
And he was chasing you
Yeah.
around, trying to get his hat back.
Yeah.
And then you stuffed it in the garbage.
Well, I set it on top of the garbage. I didn't really like stuff it, I just put it on top.
Okay, and then what happened?
And then I came back, like, because I thought it was going to be time to go in soon.
Okay, so you walked away after you put his hat in the garbage, then you came back.
Mm-hmm.
How much time elapsed?
I'm going to say...
Nor did his friends follow you.
Mm-hmm.
They did not.
They didn't.
And then you came back and did what?
And then I came back to talk to my friends over there, and then only to see that another kid stuffed the hat back into the trash.
And then?
And then he started to get really mad, and then he said to me, "Do you want to fight?" So I felt uncomfortable, so I kind of like just nudged him away from me.
How does a nudge? Give me a show me what a nudge is. Bird, would you go stand next to this young man? And I want to see what a nudge is.
Nudge gently, please.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, I want you to show me how you touched him.
Oh, I was kind of like that.
Okay, so he was coming over to you,
Yeah.
and you said to him, "You want to fight?"
Well, no, he said to me, "Do you want to fight?"
And you
Yeah.
pushed him. And then?
And then he took the glasses off my face, and then he just tore them and then smashed them. He threw them on the ground, and then he exited the area towards the door to pick up my glasses and get my backpack, which is where the door was, to tell the principal. But then when I came to get my backpack, he started coming up to me, and he started a fight. And then, yeah, he started throwing punches.
Just a second. So you want Mrs. Harrison to pay for the glasses?
Yes, ma'am.
That's not happening. Tell him to get a job and pay for his own glasses.
Why would that be?
That would be because he was the aggressor. That would be because he was the aggressor.
But a hat is not permanent damage
That would be because, well, if somebody put my hat in the garbage, I would not put it on my head again. And he was the aggressor to begin with. He was the initial aggressor and kept it going. And he was a bully who got his comeuppance. You pay for his glasses and tell him not to be a bully. We're done. Okay.
These are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
This is actually the first I've heard of that side of the story.
I don't think the kids should have started the fight in the first place.
It was never told to me in the police report that way, so I am shocked.
He got what he deserved, so.
I do not think it was a matter of bullying. I think that it was a matter of two children playing around and joking with each other.
Honestly.
Too angry compared to the other one. The other one tried to stop.
If you're friends, don't treat each other badly between each other.
I didn't think of him as that kind of person to get that mad.
If he didn't throw the wood chips, it wouldn't have started, and I still would have been there talking to my friends.
Something like that, so that's why I thought it was okay.
I haven't talked to him in a while, so I don't know.
We're not really friends anymore, I guess, I would say.
They just worked under me. I told them what to do, and they did it.
Cheated out of their pay by an old friend?
I give them cash advances constantly, so for me to owe them kind of seems odd.
But are his hurt feelings
You had to suffer a hostile work environment.
also worth a few bucks?
Every once in a while, there'd be a low blow statement, yelling, spittle, flying, stuff like that.
Do what? I don't think so.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
21-year-old Amrit Moctezuma and her boyfriend, Joseph Kreibel, are suing their former employer, Robert Miller, for unpaid wages and harassment.
Order. All rise.
Your Honor, it's case number 284 on the calendar in the matter of Moctezuma Kribel versus Miller.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Kribel, how do you know the defendant?
Bob Miller was my parents' boss back in the 80s.
So you've known him since you were born?
Pretty much since I was like around 7, I think.
And I gather from reading these papers, you are estranged from your parents.
Yes.
How long has it been since you've lived at home?
Up until I was 20.
How old are you now?
I'm 26.
And where do you live now?
Transient. Moving to Arizona.
Right now, you have no place to live.
Yes, because of the circumstances.
How old are you?
21.
And you're also estranged from your parents?
Yes.
For how long?
Since I was about 18.
And how long have you and Mr. Kribel been a couple?
Since I was 18.
So you've been together 3 years?
Yes.
And of those 3 years, how many of those 3 years have you been homeless?
Only a few months.
How many different places have you lived?
New Jersey, Los Angeles, Long Beach. That's about it.
In the 3 years that you've been together, how many jobs has Mr. Kribel had that Mr. Miller gave him?
An exact number I couldn't give you, but several.
Several?
Yes.
Doing a variety of things?
Yes.
And he always paid him?
Yes.
Because he was...
Yes, recently.
Other than this case, did you ever work for Mr. Miller?
Once, one other time.
Doing what?
Residential painting.
When?
Around a year ago.
And what did you paint?
Houses.
Houses that he owned, houses that he...
Different clients' houses.
What clients? His clients?
Yes.
It was just one in November last year.
And what kind of a client, Mr. Miller?
Painting the rental home, and it was vacant, and we repainted the entire thing, fixed the doors, whatever needed to be fixed.
And you subcontracted that out to them?
No, they just worked under me. I told them what to do, and they did it.
So you painted there, too?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm on every job.
Is that what you do for a living?
Yes. It's all referral. We have to sell. We sell a high quality, so I have to be there.
Got it. I got it. That's your business. I didn't know that that was your business. Fine. Now I understand. Okay. So he's been helpful to you.
Yes, it's kind of...
Now I also hear from these papers that either one or both of you got into some trouble a while ago. Criminal trouble. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And there was a trial.
Yes.
Yes.
And did Mr. Miller testify on your behalf?
Yes, he did.
What happened as a result of that trial?
Charges got reduced, and we were granted probation.
Is that the only problem you've had with the law?
Yes.
Now, this is why you are suing. He owes you wages. In what amount?
It came to $668.75 for myself at 53 and a half hours at a rate of $12.50.
For myself, it's a pay of $10 times 53 hours, which came to $535.
Did they work for you during those hours, Mr. Miller?
They worked for me. He made $12 an hour, number one.
He made what?
$12 an hour. She made $10 an hour.
That's what
I
she
give
said.
him cash advances constantly.
Okay.
So for me to owe him kind of seems odd.
Okay. So you asked them to do this house painting for you again?
Yes.
Recently. When was that?
From August 25th to September 24.
And around August 25th, once you asked them to start the job, how much did you give them in cash advances? You must have that.
It varies, Your Honor. It started out $40 just for the day before. They didn't have enough money to get to the job. So I give them money to go. Then they don't even show up that day. So we're going to the following day. They showed up at the house and then fought and then left. And it's kind of problems.
Well, I understand that, but you're a businessman, sir. If
Yes.
you gave them advances...
Constantly.
And those advances were going to be offset with regard to wages...
Yes.
Then you have to have a record of those.
I do.
Fine.
Current, except the last one they did not turn in. I have written it where you could understand it on another piece of paper. It's very difficult to understand a lot of their markings there, Your Honor.
Whose markings?
Joe Kribel and Amy.
What kind of markings?
What they did, how many hours they spent, when they showed up, and when they left.
You're not following me. I have a very simple question that I asked you. We're not how many hours they worked yet. How much money did you pay them in advances against their salary?
Well, this individual week says $460.
Just a second. Between the 25th of August and the 24th of September, how much in total did you pay them in advances? Just add it up. Don't guess. And if you don't know, you say, I don't know.
I don't know, Your Honor. It was done in a weekly fashion. When payday come, you deducted what I'd paid them against what was owed them, and I gave them the balance every week.
Interesting.
This example was $460 in advances. The pay was $930. I gave them the balance, and we started over again.
Great. So you can just make those deductions. There's no question in my mind that you gave them advances because they don't have two nickels to rub together. So they needed money to live, right?
Yes.
So he gave you advances before you started working. Now, when you gave me this $668, did you count in the advances time you worked for him?
The number I gave you, there was no advances on that week.
Your Honor, that's not right either.
Just a second. You said that this was for 50 hours.
Yes.
Are you telling me you worked 50 hours in 1 week?
Well, it was 6 days. We were cramming in as many hours as we could because we had 10 days to finish the project.
So
what?
So is
with no breaks or anything.
We had 10 days to finish it, and I was there another month. I don't think so.
Well, we wouldn't have walked
Okay,
off
just a
if
second.
you
Let's
weren't
do this, Mr. Miller, then. What they said, I assume, is based upon their records, and their records may be cleaner than yours and not difficult to understand. Did you pay them for the last week that they worked? That's
I
either a
did.
yes or a no. Take
Yes.
a look. How much did you pay them for the last week that they worked, and what was that week?
That was a week of the 19th.
Of September.
Mm-hmm. They
And how much
quit
did
the 24th.
Okay, so they left the 24th. So between the 19th and the 24th, they worked. How much did you pay them on the 24th?
I didn't pay them anything on the 24th.
Between the 19th and the 24th, they weren't paid.
I gave them $30 on the 20th and $50 on the 21st. They missed
30,
Monday.
Just a minute. 30 and 50.
Yes.
Okay.
They did not work the 19th.
No, between...
Or the coming.
Okay, just a second. So from the 19th to the 24th, they worked 2 days. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Is that correct?
I'll repeat that. I'm sorry.
Is
and
that
those
correct?
were 6.5-hour days and a 4-hour day. You had one with a 4-hour day, and then the other two, they worked 6.5 days. So
Oh, so it was 3 days that they worked.
no, 2 days. We got
Which
4
three?
hours on the 20th from Joe,
Okay, so you have 4 hours from Joe on the 20th.
and on the 21st, we have 6.5 hours for each, Joe and Amy.
So she wasn't there at all.
No.
So those are the only 2 days that they worked between the 19th and when they quit on the 24th.
Yes.
Okay, good. So
They have 3 hours on that 24th day, and then that's when they quit. They walked off.
3 hours on the 24th, both of them.
And, Your Honor?
Just a second. And he made $12 an hour?
Yes.
So he worked 17 hours in those 3 days times 12 equals $204. And how much of an advance did you give him between the following dates, the 19th and the 24th? How much of an advance did you give him?
I give them $80
On what date?
on the 20th, the 21st.
Great.
But there was some outstanding.
124. And she worked 6.5 and 3, or 9.5 hours, and she made $10 an hour.
Yes,
Right
to
to
them.
him. Okay. About $220. Okay. In wages. Now, the next part of your lawsuit is, see, he keeps good records. The next part of your lawsuit is that you had to suffer a hostile work environment. Did you suffer this hostile work environment when you painted for him before?
It was to a very minimal degree. It was kind of meant to be constructive. Every once in a while, there'd be a low blow statement here and there, but it was something that, you know, with some thick skin, it's okay. But it progressed into something, he's going through some troubles in his life, and I think kind of created a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde situation, which kind of made it just worse because seeing him as an elder, you know, like a family friend, somebody I consider a friend. So because it made that transition, just got intense, got bad.
Well, you want to give me an example, sir?
Basically, daily.
I don't want to hear basically.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The two of you are homeless drifters who can't seem to find your way, and you had somebody who acted in sort of a parental role to you, who you're now suing because he called you a name when you mixed the wrong colors in the paint.
And later today,
I find the fact that you have a job to be a good thing, so that as a responsible young man, the first thing that you say is, oh, gee whiz, I'm so sorry. I was acting like a stupid kid, and I damaged your phone. I'll replace it.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Amaret Moctezuma and her boyfriend, Joseph Kribel, say their former employer, Robert Miller, owes for wages and harassment.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, daily I was called, you know, retarded for whatever issue would be. Maybe I, like, missed a certain task in a group of tasks.
What else?
He would get aggressive towards me.
Give me an example.
Fighting stance, yelling, spittle, flying, you know, stuff like that.
What else?
Just demeaning.
You've known him since you're 7 years old. This was a man who stood up for you in court. This was a man who gave you jobs. The two of you are homeless drifters who can't seem to find your way. And you had somebody who acted in sort of a parental role to you, who you're now suing because he called you a name when you mixed the wrong colors in the paint that you didn't like. And he became an aggressive stand. Never hit you.
No.
Never did anything.
Nothing physical.
Physical to you. He was more of a Dutch uncle to you than, because I can't say parent because you're estranged from your parent. What else?
Well, kind of, Bob was with his old friend. He was a biker buddy of Bob's. Bob's a Christian biker, and the other guy was a Hell's Angel. And when they got together, it was kind of like they were feeding off each other, you know, and it just got worse and worse from there.
You mean and they misbehaved in front of you?
Yes, they would, you know, basically...
I don't want to hear basically.
Okay,
That's not what I want to hear.
They would say rude things about me together. You know, he said, oh, when I was 26 years old, this is where I was a Hell's Angel. I was armed to the teeth. Yes. Whereas look at you, and, you know, Bob referred to me as a peasant on the day that I was forced off the job.
Where are you working now?
Right now, I'm...
The name of the place. If I'm not working, say I'm not working.
I'm not working, but I'm going to another company.
I'm not working. And what about you?
I'm currently unemployed as well.
So the two of you still not working? Okay.
Yes, correct. We were going to
use
the
money. He owes you $220. We're done here. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You step out.
Do it the way I ask you. Do it the way I do it, and it'll look like I did it, and I'll pay you.
There's other companies I've worked with that don't treat me like that. They see my value.
He's 26, going on 16. I got him up to 18.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of LeBlanc versus Tipper. Step forward.
20-year-old Meredith LeBlanc is suing her co-workers, Cindy Tipper, and her son, 17-year-old Nicholas, for the cost to replace a damaged iPhone.
Miss LeBlanc, how old are you?
I'm 20.
And how old are you, sir?
I'm 17 years old.
This is your mother?
Yes.
And you work?
Yes, I do.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you had an accident with her phone?
Yes, there was an accident.
Yes. When did that happen?
I do not know the exact date, but it was about a month ago.
September 24th.
Tell me about the accident.
So me and Mary were sitting at the break room. It was
Mary and I.
Mary. Sorry, ma'am. Mary and I were sitting at the break room.
Sitting in the break room.
And she put her phone on an empty pizza box. I stabbed the pizza box with a pen that I had. It's not an unlikely thing to happen at the job. It's
just
not that weird. Sorry about that. I stabbed the pizza box.
Young man, listen. Young men who are 17 often do stupid things.
That's true.
Stabbing a pizza box is probably just one of the stupid things that young men who are 17 do. So you were stabbing the pizza box?
Once, yes.
Was it a large pizza, a medium pizza, or a small pizza?
I believe a large pizza.
Who had ordered the pizza?
A customer for a birthday party. It was an empty pizza box. It was garbage.
Okay, and it was just sitting on the top of the table in the break room?
Yes, ma'am.
So you took a pen. Where was the pen that you used to stab the pizza box?
It was on my lanyard.
So you didn't take it off your head. You used it while it was attached to you?
No, I took the pen off of the lanyard. I stabbed the pizza box, but that's not what flipped the phone. Mary had put her pen out of the pizza box because she didn't move it from when I first stabbed it.
Just a second. So you stabbed it?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you went to pull it out?
Yes, after a couple seconds.
Just a second. And when you pulled it out, what happened?
The pizza box flipped open, the lid unfolded, and the phone flew across the table into a pitcher of fruit punch.
Okay. And it was damaged because it's not waterproof?
Yes.
Is that what happened?
Yes, it didn't have a case on it.
And you're 17 years old, which I find the fact that you have a job and that you work and that your mom says that you have to be responsible because that's what people do, I find that to be a good thing.
Thank you, ma'am.
Great. So that as a responsible young man, the first thing that you say is, oh, gee whiz, I'm so sorry. I was acting like a stupid kid, like a baby, and I'm so sorry I damaged your phone. I'll replace it. Is that what you said to her?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What did you say next?
I asked her how her phone was doing, and she said that she immediately picked up a new phone.
And what did you say? Come on.
I said...
Did you think you were going to come here and have fun and it was going to be easy, Nicholas?
No,
it's not going to be easy.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Meredith LeBlanc says her iPhone when he knocked it into a pitcher of fruit punch.
Go ahead.
The first thing I did was I sent my friend out to a local supermarket store to pick up rice to try to repair the phone.
Okay, but that didn't work.
No, it did not.
Okay, so you did a first responsible thing. You tried to see if it could be repaired.
Yes, I did.
Because you felt...
That...
But just a second. You felt...
Partially responsible.
Right. Well, she didn't use a pen.
No, she
She
did
didn't
not.
act like a fool, right?
No.
So that didn't work. So what did you say next?
I asked her how her phone was doing, and she said that she immediately picked up a new phone. And while I do feel partially responsible...
Just a second. She said, I picked up a new phone.
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you say?
I said, that's good.
Come on.
I said...
I mean, did you think you were going to come here and have fun and it was going to be easy, Nicholas?
No,
it's
ma'am.
not going to be easy. All right. So you said, that's good. And?
Did you get the new upgrade, or did you get your old phone back? And she said that she got the new iPhone 7 upgrade.
Okay. And you said?
And I said, do you want me to pay for it? She said she wanted me to pay $300. I did not feel that I was fully responsible.
Just a second. Well, then you would have said to her, well, how much was your old phone for, right?
Yes.
And did she tell you how much her old phone was?
An iPhone 6, which was her old phone, is $300 to replace.
Is $300 to replace it. And she's suing you for $300.
Yes, ma'am.
So?
I found out through other employees at my job.
No, you can't tell me what you found out through other employees. That's hearsay and not admissible. So?
That she only paid the deductible, and that...
You mean she had insurance?
That is what I've been told.
No. Well, you can't tell me that. You can tell me what you think, but you can't tell me whether or not she has it because somebody else told you that. That's hearsay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Now, you watch television. You look like an intelligent young man. You know what hearsay is. It's an out-of-court statement when offered for the truth of that statement is inadmissible because people can't cross-examine an out-of-court statement. That's what hearsay is.
We have phone numbers of who I found out from.
Who cares? She can't cross-examine them. Now, did you have insurance on the phone? Is
No,
my
I did
question.
not.
No. Okay. I don't buy insurance on my phone. When did you buy this iPhone 6?
Bought the phone 6. Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it. Okay, so they offered to swap out of warranty for Exact Life device for $299.
Yes, that would
Okay,
be
great.
a new iPhone 6.
Great. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $300. We're done. Thank you.
Excuse, you may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm just happy to put this all behind us.
She was partially responsible for the phone being destroyed.
They thought it was my fault for putting my phone on the box.
Even though bad things can happen, people can still be civil with each other and have a working relationship.
Don't mess around at work.
Just glad that a decision was made one way or another. We're good.
He was just irate, kicking the car. I'd never seen him get so angry.
Her ex-con ex tries to sound reasonable.
Why would you agree to help her with her car if you hadn't damaged it?
Because I'm a good person.
And says the trouble's with her.
He had gotten an attitude, was picking a fight with me in the vehicle.
Did you drink at the casino?
Yes, ma'am.
After she had seen the phone call from this other girl, I guess she was mad about it.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin.
Nicole Johnson is suing her ex-boyfriend, Dylan Wood, for vandalizing her car in a fit of rage.
Order. All rise. This is case number 233 on the calendar in the matter of Johnson versus Wood.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Miss Johnson, Mr. Wood used to be your boyfriend. And some time ago, as a matter of fact, well over a year ago, it is your claim that he vandalized your car. The reason that this case took so long to be filed, according to you, was that Mr. Wood spent a year in jail. As soon as he was released, you filed the case.
Yes, ma'am.
When did the incident happen? That was in April of 2015?
Yes, ma'am.
April what?
4th.
You'll tell me about it in a minute. Mr. Wood, were you incarcerated for a year?
Yes, ma'am.
From when to when?
From November of 2015 to June of 2016.
Were you in jail at all between April and November?
No.
No. So you really had sufficient time in which to file a lawsuit against him before he went to jail.
Yes.
You want to tell me why you didn't?
After the incident, I thought he would be a person of his word and take care of the damages like he said he would.
I want to ask you this question, Ms. Johnson. Between April the 4th, 2015, and November of 2015, April 4th,
No,
is
ma'am.
that correct, Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Okay. When you say you thought he would be a person of his word, did he say he would pay for the damage?
Yes.
On what date?
After the incident. The date would be the following day or a couple days afterwards in a text message.
You have the text message?
I do not.
Did you text him?
No.
He texted you?
Yes.
Is that right?
Well, I simply said I would help her with her car.
You would help her?
I said I would help her because...
Well, I mean, she didn't need her car moved from one place to another, right?
Right.
She needed her car fixed.
Right.
And you said, I'll help you with it.
Yes.
Okay, now let me see why you agreed to help her with it. Ms. Johnson, you want to tell me what happened on April 4th of 2015?
Yes. We had been to dinner. Everything seemed okay. He had gotten an attitude, was picking a fight with me in the vehicle.
You mean after dinner?
Yes, after dinner. So on the way
Who was
home...
driving?
I was. I just kept trying to ask him to stop arguing with me, stop being disrespectful, stop whatever it is you're doing. And it just started getting out of hand. I was fearing. I didn't know how he was going to react to the way he was being. And my witness here, Rick, I pulled in his driveway to get help because I didn't know where it was going to escalate.
What were you arguing about?
I honestly don't even know why the attitude or the anger or the
Do you
fight.
remember, Mr.
Going to dinner, she come and picked me up. She wanted to meet and go to the casino. So I met her in town and dropped my motorcycle off, and I got in the car with her, and we were heading to the casino, and I got a phone call from...
Just a second. Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Okay. So you weren't out for dinner. You were going to the casino. You met in town.
Right.
You had a motorcycle?
Yes.
So you left your bike and you drove?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were on the way to the casino?
This was on after the casino.
Okay, so you had gone to the casino?
Right.
Did you drink at the casino?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you drink at the casino?
No.
Okay.
That's not true.
That's not true.
Shh. Did you have anything to drink at the casino?
No, I was on probation.
Oh, okay. Were you ultimately violated on your probation?
Yes, I was.
Is that why you spent this time in jail?
Yes.
And the violation of the probation was?
It was just a failed drug test for my probation.
All right. So you pulled in, you were on your way home, there was an argument. Two of you probably had a little bit too much to drink, maybe both of you. Certainly you shouldn't have been behind the wheel of the car if you were drinking. And you pulled into Rick's house. That's Rick.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you didn't like what was going on. And pick it up from there.
I pulled in the driveway. I demanded him to get out of my vehicle. Yes.
Now, I want you to try to remember very carefully, because the first part of your story you forgot about. You weren't out for dinner. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
You understand. So let's be very clear. And if you don't remember something, there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't remember.
Okay.
Okay, you told him to get out of the car.
Which it was a task to get him out of the car. I kept asking for him to get out of my car, and he didn't want to get out of my car. He eventually got out of the car. Yes, and he started kicking my vehicle. I ran up the stairs. I mean, he was just irate, kicking the car, just, being crazy. I'd never seen him get so angry, and I didn't know what was going to happen. I ran up the stairs, didn't even open the door, and I was like, help me. I don't know what to do. He's kicking the car. He's been crazy. And that's when Rick assisted me and went outside and tried to help me from there.
And those are the damages you're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now you tell me your side of the story.
Starting from Rick's driveway?
Yes, you pulled into Rick's driveway.
Okay, we pulled into Rick's driveway, and after she had seen the phone call from this other girl, I guess she was mad about it.
You missed a whole piece of the chapter with me. After she saw what message from what girl?
She didn't see a message. After she had picked me up from where I dropped my motorcycle off, she had seen that I got a phone call from some other girl.
You mean on your way to the casino, before you got to the casino?
Yes.
Well, then where was the drinking? If all this happened before the casino...
I wasn't drinking.
Yeah, but she said she was drinking. Where was she drinking? In the car? She said she was drinking in the casino. You were on your way home. You say you were on your way going to the casino, and she saw a message on the phone.
Yes. And she stopped at Rick's house and wanted me to get out of the car. So I got out of the car.
Before the casino?
Yes.
All right, we had a dinner. We were out for dinner. We had a romantic dinner, and then we had an argument on the way home. Then we were on the way to the casino where I was drinking. Then we were on the way back from the casino. That's why
we never had a dinner.
That's why you're supposed to bring a lawsuit promptly. That's why the law says you're supposed to bring a lawsuit as soon as you possibly can so that everybody's mind is fresh. He wants to tell me the truth. You want to tell me the truth as best as you can remember it, but you don't remember it, right?
I remember.
Well, you didn't. I mean, how could you remember it and tell me that you had been out to dinner with him and you were on your way home from dinner when you had an argument and you pulled into Rick's house?
I understand. I just got confused about where we were prior.
That's not confused.
I
Well, he says you hadn't gone to the casino yet.
We had gone to the casino.
And dinner.
And
what time did this happen? You have a police report?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
I'd like to take a look at the police report. Thanks, Bert. Well, the incident occurred on April 4th, but you reported it to the police on April 10th.
I called the police that evening of the incident. Actually, my witness, may have been when I requested the report.
No, it just says incident occurred from 4/4/2015 at 20:30 hours through 2100 hours. Report date 4/10/2015. Did the police arrive at the scene that night?
Yes, ma'am.
They did. And you don't have any other report from them other than this?
That's all they gave me, besides my witness who was there.
Okay. Well, Mr. Wood, maybe it's possible that you don't remember, but she named you as a suspect in this vandalism of her car on the day she reported it. And you did, in fact, say to her, I'll help you with your car.
Yes.
Now, why would you agree to help her with her car if you hadn't damaged it?
Because I'm a good person, I feel like.
No, that's...
In a moment.
What did you say to them at the time of the walkthrough about the fire pit?
That wasn't there when you moved in.
And?
And I did not put it in there.
I do not recall that at all.
I don't believe her.
Don't believe
Actually, I don't believe her.
Okay.
And later today.
I unleashed the dog, turned around to put the dog into the house, and he was behind me. The dog started barking.
That's not the dog that bit him.
The dog in the house started barking. He started screaming, ah, ah!
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Nicole Johnson says ex-boyfriend Dylan Wood kicked her car in a fit of rage.
Okay, can I see pictures of the car, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you had the car fixed?
No, ma'am.
Where is the car now?
In Norman, Oklahoma, where I live.
Do you still own it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you drive it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because it's drivable. It
Yes.
just doesn't look pretty.
Right.
Okay, do you have an estimate to fix it?
I have two, Your Honor.
I'd like to see this. Would you take a look, Bert, and tell me 2008 Toyota Corolla, please?
7225.
Anything else anybody want to tell me? No, good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $43.17, which is the lowest of your two estimates. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy feels like she deserves it, then I guess she deserves it.
I'm just happy it's finally going to get taken care of.
Me and Rick got in a fight, and he shoved me against the car.
Did you see the damage to that car? I would have had to ram his head into the car 50 times to do that.
Do the right thing.
And also tell the truth.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Shola Depew versus Travisano. Step forward.
Stephen Scholler and Christopher Depew are suing their former landlord, Lisa Travisano, for the return of their security deposit. Lisa is countersuing for violating the lease.
What's your last name, sir?
Depew?
Who's going to speak for the two of you?
I will.
You're Mr. Scholler.
Yes.
Mr. Scholler, you and your co-plaintiff rented a house from the defendant.
Yes.
And you had a one-year lease?
About 13 months, roughly 13 months.
And you stayed during the course of the lease?
Yeah.
And you paid your rent?
Mm-hmm.
And you also had a security deposit?
Yes.
$1,789 is what you're requesting?
Yes.
Okay. When did you move out?
We moved out June 30th.
A walkthrough with you?
Oh, yes, it's a
On
verbal
what day?
walkthrough.
What is a verbal walkthrough?
No checklist or anything like that.
Did she walk through the house with you?
Yes.
On what date?
The 30th.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you take any photographs on the 30th?
No, I took photographs on the 1st.
Why?
Because there was no electricity in the house, and when we did the walkthrough, my iPad was dead. So the minute that they left, I was waiting to go back and take the photos.
Well, that's a problem, Ms. Trafisano, because that's what a walkthrough is for. A walkthrough is on the date that they are departing or immediately preceding that. You go through, the landlord goes through, usually with a checklist, and says, this is wrong, so that they have an opportunity to say, well, this is the way it was when I rented the house.
They were still had boxes and belongings still there at the walkthrough.
But that's okay. You're not complaining about boxes and things?
No, but the cleaning was not done yet.
Your Honor, I have photos from the 30th. Absolutely.
May I see your photos? Anyway, you returned some of their security deposit. How much did you return?
$1,135.
How much did you keep of their security deposit?
$1,789.
A letter indicating why you were keeping $1,789.
Yes.
I'd like to see it. When were these photos taken?
On the 30th of June, the day we moved out.
Okay, actually, the only thing that I want to see is the fire pit. When you did the walkthrough, what did you say to them at the time of the walkthrough about the fire pit?
That wasn't there when you moved in.
And they said?
It's not an active fire pit.
And you said?
Well, there's wood, burnt wood and cardboard in the fire pit.
And?
And I did not put it in there. Okay. You had no permission to do that.
Did she say that to you?
I do not recall that at all, and if she had showed her displeasure that the fire pit was there, we would have taken those bricks away.
Just a second.
Yes.
I don't believe her.
Don't believe?
Actually, I don't believe her.
Okay.
That she said that to you.
I mean, I don't either.
This is nonsense. This is the fire pit you're talking about.
Yes.
Like I said, I would have easily taken those bricks, filled the dirt back in that hole. Would have taken 5 minutes.
Very good. We're done.
If that.
We're done.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today.
He asked me to bring the dog into the house. The dog could have stayed right where it was.
Just a second. Not the dog that bit him.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
If I didn't open up the door, yeah.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Stephen Scholler and Christopher Depew are suing their former landlord, Lisa Travisano, for the return of their security deposit. Lisa is countersuing for violating the lease.
Okay. Any place that you rent, you're going to have to do a cleanup on. These are the photographs that they say that they took the day before they moved out. I want you to look at them.
Can I show you the pictures that I have?
I want you to look at those pictures. Now, Bert, I'm going to look at her pictures.
Also, Your Honor, on the lease it says that only the 3 tenants were allowed living there and there were other people living in the house.
That's not true.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,789. Your counterclaim's dismissed. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It was very nice when they rented it, and it was a mess when they left. Better people.
She was just upset that she was caught in a lie and caught trying to take our money.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Navarro versus Becue. Step forward.
Raymond Navarro is suing Alicia Becue for actual and punitive damages as a result of a dog attack.
Mr. Navarro, the defendant was selling something that you were interested in buying. You went to her house to look at the item, which was some sort of a speaker, and it is your claim that when you were there, one of her dogs bit you.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Miss Becue, I don't know what she says. I think what she's saying is it was your fault. And she does call it a bite. She calls it a nip. On what date did this happen, sir?
December 29, 2015.
You went to her house?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you go to the front door or to the garage?
At the garage.
Garage open or closed?
Yes, it's open, wide open.
And according to your complaint, there were 2 large dogs in the garage. Is that right?
Yes.
But neither of those dogs were the dogs that bit you?
Yes, Your
Correct?
Honor. Yes, correct.
There was a 3rd dog?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, where did the 3rd dog come from?
comes from inside the house.
Who opened the door?
She opened the door.
What did you open the door for?
Because he asked me to put my St. Bernard into the house.
When you opened the door, the other dog came out.
Well, I asked him to stay outside the car.
I didn't ask you that question.
Yes.
The Australian Terrier was the dog that bit or nipped him, depending upon whether you are the victim or the owner of the dog. If you're the victim, it's a bite. If you're the owner, it's a nip. Do you have photographs of the nip?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have a doctor's report?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to take a look at both. When did you contact the defendant about your medical bills?
It was my lawyer who contacted her.
And was there any resolution?
The lawyer requested for a meeting, so there would be a resolution, but she never came in.
Anything you want to tell me?
Yes, Your Honor. He asked me to bring the dog into the house. The dog could have stayed right where it was.
No,
it was
the dog.
leashed
Wait, just a second. The dog, not the dog that bit him.
Yeah.
Okay, so
if I didn't open up the door, the dog would have never got out. And if he would have...
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, your defense is that he asked you, according to you, to put the other dog inside because the dog was barking. And you accommodated him by opening the door.
But I also asked him to stay out on the driveway. I unleashed the dog, turned around to put the dog into the house, and he was behind me. The dog started barking.
That's
started
not
screaming.
the dog that bit him.
The dog in the house started barking. He started screaming, ah, ah! I turned around, I told him to stop. Stay right there, stop. Because you alert a dog, you show a dog you're scared, they get on a defense. So when he started screaming...
I have dogs. They don't get on the defense if you show them you're scared.
Well, he started screaming.
Maybe your dogs
The dog
do.
ran out, and and the dog nipped him.
Fine. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. We're finished. Thank you.
Pardon your excuse. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He took advantage of a situation.
Well, it's a fair decision, you know.
And if he didn't start running around screaming, the dog would have never bit him.
I had to walk out of the garage to avoid the dog, but the dog was too fast for me, and...
It's an Australian Shepherd. They're a herding dog.
She got me on my leg.
Go meet him at the fire department.
Not go to any more houses with dogs. That's it.
This is you.
Yes.
You were clearly furious.
A dust-up at the dollar store.
It was about a cigar that scents on it.
Or is the owner trying to make a quick buck?
He grabbed the cigar and throw 33 cents and walk out. If that's not stealing, how do you call that?
An outright lie, Your Honor.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Dion Rose is suing store owners David and Maria Mendoza for defamation of character after they falsely accused him of shoplifting.
Order. All rise. It's case number 221 on the calendar in the matter of Rose versus Mendoza. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Mr. Rose, Mr. Mendoza runs a store, a dollar sort of store.
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of inexpensive little things. And based upon what I read in your complaint, you frequented that store. You went in
Yes.
there, and you walked in one day, and you saw that your picture was up in the store, and the picture suggested that you were a shoplifter.
Yes, ma'am.
And you want to be compensated for that.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, do you have a photograph for me or something to show me of the poster that you saw and when you saw it?
Yes, Your Honor. I have a video, actually. It has no audio on it, just video. And if I could, I want to explain, it wasn't just one day I walked in. Actually, it was a day or two after Christmas of last year, December 2015. I came in the store and I had words with the gentleman in the white shirt. I think his name is Caesar. It was about a cigar that they were selling for $1.50 for, and it, you know, it says 2 for 99 cents on it. And we got into some type of verbal altercation. And then I came back 2 or 3 days later for some incense or candles, and I saw it directly as soon as I walked in the store, shoplifter.
Okay. So what you feel precipitated putting up this photograph was the argument that you had with Mr. Mendoza's employee. That is your employee, sir?
Yes.
Okay, because you raised an issue that they were overcharging for cigars that on the package said 2 for $1. They were selling them for $1.50 a piece.
Exactly.
Okay. Stand up, sir. Your last name is?
Mendoza.
Are you related?
Yes, he's my brother.
You remember having that discussion with Mr. Rose?
Yeah, that's happened like March 15.
It happened in March?
That's incorrect.
You think it happened sometime in December?
I'm certain it happened sometime.
And you're certain it happened March 15?
March 15 at 4:15 p.m.
And I assume that that tape is going to show that to me.
Let me explain to you.
The date and the time.
For the date of the...
Okay. So you're going to show me something that you took in December of 2015.
I think it was January. It was a couple days after the initial verbal altercation. And this is the beginning of it. I was just walking up into the store so I could show you where they were displaying it. As soon as you walk in the store, it's right here.
Right where?
I'm zooming in on it right there. And I happen to be that person right there screaming, because that's when they took the picture of me when I was screaming at them right there with the baseball hat on.
Is that just a second?
You can see it clear on my phone, Your Honor.
I'd like to take a look at it on your phone, sir, because I can't see it clearly there.
I'm sorry, hold on 1 second. Okay, either one of those two you can play. Yeah, there was never any incident of me stealing anything from the store.
Just a second.
And, Your Honor, they're not arguing that. I'm sorry.
Do you say that you...
That's me. It's a picture, and they're not arguing that it's not me.
Okay, I'm just telling you that based upon... I can't see that in here.
Oh, okay.
I can't see that. I see a woman. I see the back of 2 people. It's not clear enough for me to see it. But you don't deny that you put up his picture.
I don't deny it, no.
Okay, fine. Now, what you're going to do is show me, because certainly if you put up his picture and he was never prosecuted for theft.
We called the police. We called the police that day of the incident. Let me explain what happened that day. He walked into a store and asked for a cigar that it cost $1, not $1.50. That's his first lie. It's pre-priced $1.99. We sell it for $1 at the door. So normally when you walked into a store...
No, don't tell me normally. Just tell me what happened.
Okay, he asked for a cigar, $1 cigar. My brother put him on the counter. He grabbed the cigar and throw 33 cents and walk out. If that's not stealing, how do you call that? There's no other way to say.
Just a second. Did that happen,
That's
Mr.
an outright lie, Your Honor.
Just a second.
No, it didn't.
And do you have that on tape?
We don't have that on tape, no. That was back March 15, and we didn't keep that much evidence on our record. It's just way too much memory on my computer. We have only the picture that we put up there.
From March 15?
And also, Your Honor, we have...
Just a second. Is this a picture of you, Mr. Rose, arguing with somebody?
Yes,
Is
Your
that
Honor.
the picture that you
Yes,
tried to
Your
show
Honor.
me
Yes.
in here? Okay. And were you at the counter?
Yeah, I was there.
You were there. Do you want to tell me exactly what happened when Mr. Rose came in?
Yeah, he came, and I want to explain to you first. I don't speak good English, but he came and asked for cigars. I gave it to him, put it on the counter. When he threw me 33 cents, he walked away. I told him, hey man, this is $1. What? It's not $1. He started to argue
with you.
And say, hey, if you don't want it, just leave over there. You don't have to argue with me. And no, can you overcharge me, sir? The price is on there.
It's printed.
It's printed on the cigars. And he has tried to argue with me. He's tried to fight with me. You know, he said, hey,
No, he
come
was
outside.
argumentative. You could see it from this
He
pic.
can explain to you better what's going on that day because he saw the video.
He spat on his face. He
spat on my face. He spat on my face.
That's total lie.
It makes some threats.
It
That's
makes
the
some
reason why
threats.
we call the police, and we have the police report.
May I see the police report,
Yes.
please? So after this incident, you called the police?
Yeah, we called the police.
Okay, I'd like to see the police report. Do you have a copy of the police report, Mr. Rose?
No, I've never heard of it.
March 15th.
Exactly, 4:15 p.m.
You have any proof, sir, that this happened in December?
Well, the incident that I'm referring to happened in December, Your Honor.
Well, But there was another incident in March.
I don't even know what he's referring to. I've never spat on him.
Okay, well, this is you.
Yes.
You clearly had an argument with him.
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And do you have any proof that the incident that you described occurred in December? Is there any proof that you have that it occurred in December? Does your phone indicate that it occurred in December?
On the recording, when I recorded it?
Yes, it should, if it's in December.
May I?
If it's in December, that would be very relevant to me.
Thank you. I don't know how I would see the date on there.
You have no proof.
Shh.
Your Honor, it doesn't show a date on here at all. My witness can attest that when this incident happened that I'm telling you about, like days after I had the altercations, when I walked in the store and saw this picture up, this has just been happening since December. I've been going to this store. I live a block from the store.
Yeah, but you were arguing, listen to me, you were arguing with this gentleman in this picture. Clearly, you are furious, Mr. Rose. In this picture, cigar, I have no idea. If they choose to charge $1 for a cigar that's worth 50 cents, you don't have to go in there and buy from him. But you were clearly furious.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, I was furious because he was cussing at me and trying to provoke me to fight with him.
Oh, please, Mr. Rose. That's ridiculous. Mr. Rose, that's ridiculous. According to you, and I read your case very, very carefully, you had been going to this store all the time.
Yes, I look now.
All the time. Nobody ever provoked you before, because otherwise, and you're not an unintelligent man, Mr. Rose, because if you were an unintelligent man, I would say, well, if somebody provokes you, who's not nice to you, you don't go to the store. But clearly, you never had a problem in the store before, so if you went and you had an argument over the price of a cigar, that doesn't actually require this. It requires, you know what? I'm not buying this cigar.
Well,
and you walk away. You say, I'll buy my cigar someplace else. What do you want?
Yeah, well, excuse me.
You weren't here.
No, I wasn't
there.
there.
You weren't there because you're nowhere in the picture.
Right.
Sit down.
Okay, yeah.
And they think it's a joke. I mean, Your Honor.
No, I don't think it's a... Mr. Rose, I don't think it's a joke. But clearly an incident happened over a cigar that you wanted to purchase. It says that what you did was take the cigar and leave with it and threw down what you wanted to pay for it, which was 33 cents. They called the police and made a report immediately. Now, the only other question that I'm going to ask, which may be dispositive, when for the first time did you decide to sue them? In what month and year?
September.
This September?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, your case is dismissed. We're done. I don't believe you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I have the right to refuse service to anyone, so I'm not going to allow him to store no more.
How detrimental would it be to you if someone had your picture up for 9 months?
Based on what they told me, I'm not doing anything illegal.
As a shoplifter, and you haven't shoplifted anything.
And I want to continue doing the same thing I'm doing.
Who will believe someone pays 33 cents for something that costs $1 and walks out?
I'm just protecting my business.
It's common sense.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Wood versus Lane. Step forward.
William Wood is suing his former landlord-to-be, 20-year-old Alexa Lane, for reimbursement of storage fees and the return of a security deposit.
Mr. Wood, you rented a room from the defendant. You gave her a security deposit. It is your claim that she back plus a whole bunch of other damages, which is actually sort of ridiculous. Miss Lane is counterclaiming. She said you signed a lease and you backed out at the last minute. She wants you to pay the remainder of the month's rent. So it's very simple. You found this room on Craigslist?
Correct.
And you went to see it on what date?
On the day of the 26th, or the 27th is our first time we meet in person.
27th of what?
January 27th of 2016.
And when did you sign a lease?
The lease was partially signed, not fully signed, on February 22nd after I gave the deposits.
Okay. May I see what you're talking about, a partially signed lease?
I have the lease.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Okay. This one was actually signed by another tenant, not by William, but this is the same exact lease that he did sign.
Oh, no. I want the lease that he signed.
I don't have that. That wasn't my responsibility to bring.
Well, it is your responsibility to bring it, Miss Lane, because you have a counterclaim, and your counterclaim is that he violated the terms of the lease.
I do. I have the roommate agreement also, but I've also moved several times in the last year, so...
I don't care, actually.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She says to you, I can't give you a key until the rent is paid.
Correct, and I state that I understand that, but I can't pay her the rent if she doesn't allow me to actually move my things in.
A month's rent, and then you get a key.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
William Wood says Alexa Lane owes for storage fees and a security deposit. Alexa has a countersuit for lost wages and harassment.
Now, if you don't have the proof that he violated the terms of lease because you don't have a written lease, then you don't have a counterclaim.
Okay.
Okay, so you can't show me a lease that somebody else signed, but it was the same as he signed. Okay. So now I'd like to see what you have as a partial lease, sir.
I would not receive a copy from her. She refused to give me a copy upon request.
Okay, so then I don't have to worry about it. I do not have a written lease.
Yes.
Easy.
Correct.
Okay. And you gave her how much?
I gave her $200 security deposit,
Fine.
which she gave me electronic.
On February 22nd?
Yes, February 22nd.
When were you supposed to move in?
I told her I was moving in a week before my lease ended.
What date were you
sorry.
supposed to move
March
in?
8th.
Now tell me what happened so that you didn't move in on March 8th.
On March 8th, I reached out to her with my first attempt to get a key to move in. And within the course of 4 days, I reached out to her 3 times.
Okay, so you were supposed to move in on March 8th?
Correct.
And prorate rent for the month
Correct.
of
We had
March?
a verbal agreement that the rent would be prorated based on the day that I moved my things into the house.
Okay, so go ahead.
To the house and did not provide me with the key in a timely manner, if not, didn't even provide me a key at all. At the point of requesting it after 4 days, she refused to give me the key.
Oh, so she refused to give you a key. What did she say when she...
Well, page 5 of our text message documents, I told her if this continues to be an issue, I will like my deposit back.
Okay, let me see your text messages to the
Here's a copy
defendant.
for you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, the actual date of him to move in was March 16th, and he harassed me with text messages and phone calls at my workplace and all through the night demanding a key before he ever paid rent.
What would you need for me to be able to rent the room?
Correct. I asked her what...
She says you would need to sign the lease and sign the roommate agreement. So I don't have a signed lease. I don't have a roommate agreement. And pay the first month's rent, which you didn't pay, and a $200 security deposit. So that's what you would need before you ask for a key. Do you understand?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Where I feel that she was discriminatory was the moment that we had the text message conversation on page 5. I tell her information about myself, and upon revealing this information from her, she responds, upon new information, I am uncomfortable with you moving in.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
William Wood says Alexa Lane owes for storage fees and a security deposit. Alexa has a countersuit for lost wages and harassment.
Now, before you ask for a key, you had to have a signed lease, a signed roommate agreement, pay her a month's rent, which was how much?
It was prorated.
A month's rent was $275, Your Honor.
Pay $275 plus a $200 security deposit. So the only thing that you did was pay the $200 security deposit.
Correct.
And then you asked her for a key.
No,
Yes,
not.
ma'am.
What I did is I gave her the $200 security deposit, and we had a verbal agreement that on the day
No,
that I move in, it'll be prorated.
Fine, I would like to see that here.
Okay.
Is that anywhere in these?
The verbal agreements? No. I'm
Is that
sorry.
anywhere in here?
No, it's not, ma'am.
No. Okay. Well, that takes care of all the other nonsense, your discrimination against you, whatever.
There was no discrimination, Your
Just
Honor.
a second. She says to you, I can't give you a key until the rent is paid.
Yes, ma'am.
She says that to you.
Correct, and I state that I understand that, but I can't pay her the rent if she doesn't allow me to actually move my things in.
No, that's not true. You sign a lease, you pay a month's rent and a security deposit, and then you get a key.
That's understandable, Your Honor. We had a verbal discuss was that...
No.
I'm sorry.
Not here. Not in the
understandable.
messages that you gave me.
Where I feel that she was discriminatory was that the moment that we had the text message conversation on page 5, I tell her information about myself, including that I'm a Freemason. And upon revealing this information from her, she responds, upon new information, I am uncomfortable with you moving in.
Your Honor, he informed me he was a Freemason the day he saw the room, and I was totally comfortable with it.
She did not rent the room to anybody else because she assumed that you were going to do what you had to do to rent the room, which was to sign a lease, sign a roommate agreement, pay a month's rent, and pay a security deposit. Of those 4 things that you had to do, you only did 1. Then you demanded access to the room.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, you demanded access to the room over and over again. You demanded access to the room. That's what you said. I asked for a key 4 times, and she wouldn't give me a key 4 times.
I requested that a time for us to meet, and that way she could give me the key and that I could give her money. And she was not cooperating with me as to a time that we could meet up for me to fulfill her where I want to meet her.
Just a second. She said, I left you numerous voicemails on Thursday afternoon, which you never called back. That's on a Thursday.
Right.
Okay, letting you know I got your calls and was making your key.
She only responded to me once. From
Your Honor,
my
I was a full-time student, and I also worked 2 jobs, and he was harassing me.
The text messages state
Mr. Wood,
yes.
Let's be clear. This was not a good marriage, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a new roommate?
I no longer live there anymore.
Oh, fine. Then give him his $200 back. We're done. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $200.
Ma'am, can you hear my countersuit?
No, you have no lease, correct?
I have the lease, just not the signed lease.
No, if you don't have a signed lease, you don't have a lease.
Okay, and it's also for harassment at my workplace.
Forget it.
Okay.
Should have given him his $200 back. He wouldn't have harassed you in the work.
He knew the roommate agreement, and it says that if he didn't provide me a 30-day notice written, that he would lose the security deposit because my end was to just hold the room.
$200.
Okay.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Tragedy in her unsafe stables?
You really had the responsibility to call a vet, but it's her responsibility to pay.
She doesn't have a permit to run a boarding stable.
When did you have this epiphany? When you had a problem?
Judge Judy.
He was calling me and texting me all through the night, all through the morning.
That was a complete lie. I have text messages where I'll text her once.
Demanding a key before he even paid rent.
And I did not harass her. One text message every couple of weeks, and it's not harassment at all.
He wanted to put his things in the house before paying rent. I'm not okay with that. So that's how that happened.
She really wasn't a very pleasant person. She just became real nasty towards me.
Never to do it again. That's why I have moved out and it's no longer my property.
A mother's sudden cross-country move.
You left the state of Florida.
Yes.
To go to what state?
Virginia.
So you refused to bring the child back from the state of Virginia.
Will this dad ever see his daughter again?
You list a whole lot of things that portray the defendant as a very bad person.
He was in prison for 5 years.
You don't have the right to take the child away from the other parent.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Holly Leftwich is suing the father of her child, Casey Fand, for the return of her belongings.
Order. All rise. It's case number 217 on the calendar, the matter of Leftwich versus Fand. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Leftwich, you and the defendant have it. It is your claim that the defendant removed your property without your permission from an apartment that you had shared, but he had vacated.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant says that his name was on the lease to the apartment, that you had, in effect, left the apartment, that you were being evicted for non-payment of rent, I assume. He went into the apartment to secure the property that belonged to him and to his daughter. They have a daughter together.
Yes, Your Honor.
He has a counterclaim, and his counterclaim says that you filed 2 applications for orders of protection against him, both of which were false, both of which were dismissed and caused him to incur certain legal fees, all in an attempt to have him removed from his daughter's life. So that's what the case is about. He has a counterclaim.
And also daycare expenses, Your Honor.
Well, I know that you're suing for daycare expenses. You're suing for daycare expenses for your child?
Her half. I paid all of it.
Well, that's all right. You could pay all of it.
Okay.
You can pay all of it. It's your child. If she takes the child out to a restaurant and buys a hamburger, you think that she should be able to charge you for half of that for your child?
It depends on who's paying for the dinner that night.
That's why we don't get messed up in those things. I would assume that right now, how old is your daughter?
18 months.
That your daughter is living with her mother?
No, ma'am.
She's living with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Her live with you? I'd like to see that. And along with the order of custody, did the court make an order of support against her mother?
Not yet, Your Honor.
The court should, and I assume that the court will make an order of support against the non-custodial parent. And if you're going to be the custodial parent, Miss Leftwich will pay support for her daughter.
Your
What?
Honor, He's actually going to pay me support. And
For what?
It's 50-50 custody in the state of Florida.
Well, if it's 50-50 custody, why is he paying you support?
Because I make less than him.
I'd like to see the order. Was there an order entered subsequently to the 2nd of August, 2016?
There is another final order.
Well, I'd like to take a look at it.
That's the
We
one I
have
was
the
looking
final judgment August 10th.
August 10th. I'd like to see that.
And Mr. Fan, even though we've had the final judgment for 50-50 custody, he refuses to actually let me have
this one.
my half with the child. So
Did you remove the child from the jurisdiction of Florida? Did you attempt to remove the child from the jurisdiction of Florida?
No.
The two of you were living in Florida.
Yes.
The
Yes,
child.
ma'am.
Okay, let's get down to
Yes.
it. Two of you were living in Florida.
Yes.
The child was born in Florida. You left the state of Florida.
Yes.
On what date did you leave the state of Florida?
I left April 19th on the bus.
April 19th, 2016.
Yes, ma'am.
You left to go to what state?
Virginia.
When you arrived in Virginia, you had family in Virginia.
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
Who was in Virginia?
My parents, my siblings, my grandmother. She was in the
Parents,
hospital.
siblings, grandma. Did you, at that time, when you were visiting with your family, because that's what you say you were doing, correct?
Yes.
Did you file any legal action in the state of Virginia?
Not at that time.
Between April 19th, 2016 and August 2nd, did you file any action in the state of Virginia?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what you filed and on what date.
I filed an injunction, a protective order injunction.
You filed for a protective order.
Yes,
on what
ma'am.
date?
That would have been the end of June 29th.
Just a second. So were you in Virginia the months of April, May, and June? Pay careful attention.
Yes, ma'am.
So you never came back to the state of Florida in the months of April, May, and June?
No, that's incorrect.
Well, did you come back?
Yes, ma'am.
On what date?
Yes.
May 20th, and that
Yes.
was an action in the state of Florida.
Yes, ma'am.
Brought by?
Casey.
Brought by the defendant, and that was for the return of the child from the state of Virginia to the state of Florida, to the home state. I did family court work for a long time. So you refused to bring the child back from the state of Virginia. He filed in the state of Florida an order directing you to bring the child home to the child's home state. And after you received that, you filed an injunction in the state of Virginia. Is that what I'm hearing?
That is correct, Your Honor, but I was not found, guilty.
I didn't ask you whether you were found guilty. I didn't ask you if you were found guilty of anything. I'm just looking at what's going on. You see, I've been around this block.
Yes.
So after there was an order in the state of Florida for you to return the child to the state of Florida, you went back to Virginia because
Right.
you said you were there, and you filed for an order precluding him from having, I'm going to read it, from having contact with the child. Is that right?
And my cat.
I don't care about your cat. List a whole lot of things dating back to November 15th that portray the defendant as a very bad person. Just a second. What I want to know is, and this was filed on the 28th day of June, after the court in Florida ordered you to return to Florida with the child. That would be a yes or a no?
I'm not sure which
Well,
document
do you
you're
have an
looking at.
order
Yes, Your
from
Honor.
the state of Florida or a court date? You filed, I assume, with your family, you went to see a lawyer in Virginia.
Your Honor.
Just listen to me. I'm talking. I assume you went to see a lawyer in the state of Virginia.
I did.
Of course. Okay. So on the 23rd of May, the court granted the father's order that neither one of you could remove the child from Palm Beach County.
That's correct.
And then, despite that order, you did, in fact, remove the child from Palm Beach County and went back to Virginia, where you filed on the 28th of June.
Yes, ma'am.
For the child, anything.
Your Honor,
I would have... Just a second. I'm not getting into that.
Okay.
I want to know what the judge in Virginia ultimately did with this protective order. Did the judge grant you a protective order or dismiss this case?
He granted the protective order for me.
Permanent. Based upon these allegations, if I were a family court judge, I would grant you ex parte, without him being there, a temporary order of protection.
That is correct, yes, ma'am.
Temporary order of protection, just based upon the terrible allegations that you make here. The judge in Virginia, I don't see anywhere around here that anybody made the judge in Virginia aware of the Florida court's order precluding you from removing the child from Palm Beach County. I don't see anything in here about that. You understand where I'm going?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I ultimately want to know, I'll get to you in a minute. It looks like there is some semblance of knowledge here, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So I want to know what the court in Virginia ultimately did with your protective order. Did you have a trial?
No, ma'am. He did not get the protective order in Florida.
What happened with it?
Go because of the paternity.
So it was dismissed?
Yeah, I didn't go.
So it was dismissed?
Because I was in Florida.
So it was dismissed?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your daughter's stuff was there.
My cat was in the apartment.
I don't want to hear about your cat, because any idiot that goes away for 3 months and leaves a cat in the apartment, what arrangements did you make him with home with?
I was gone for like a week.
I don't care.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Holly Leftwich says the father of her child, Casey Fand, stole her belongings and sold them. Casey is countersuing for child care and legal expenses.
Now, did you ever file a protective order against him in the state of Florida?
Yes, ma'am.
On what date?
It would have been November 29th.
November 29th?
Of 2015.
I would like to see that.
I don't have a copy with me.
November 25th.
I didn't know that we were here for all the paternity. I was here for my stuff. So.
You mean you were never served with a copy of his counterclaim?
No, ma'am.
Did you like to see a copy of that?
That wasn't even in his counterclaim.
That actually just came in the mail the day I left.
I didn't even.
And it was signed for by her roommate. I do not have, this is the order that I did with the police receipt for getting it served, but that order actually came in the mail the day I left to come here.
On what date did you leave Florida?
Yesterday.
And you received no...
My roommate signed for it. I never got it. I have no idea what his counterclaim is even. I don't.
So if you were never served with a copy of his counterclaim, I'm not going to hear it today.
I didn't.
I'm not going to hear his counterclaim today. He's free to refile that in Palm Beach County if he wishes. Do you understand?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Now, what you're asking for is a return of your property. Now, both of you were on the lease of this apartment, I assume. You left the apartment on April 19th, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I would like you to show me proof of rent for April, May, and June in the apartment.
I have January, February. He paid March.
I'm talking about April, May, and June. When you left the apartment, his name is on the lease, as well as yours, but you were living there.
Now, you had the 15, so the lease had ran out, so I was on month to month.
Great. So you were living there. He had moved out in March?
In September.
In September?
2015.
Okay, so he moved out in September.
That's correct, right after the lease was up.
Fine, and you stayed with the child?
I did.
I would like to see proof that you paid rent when you were in Virginia.
I was with my parents.
So is what you're telling me, nobody paid rent?
No.
Is what you said, yes, that is correct, nobody paid rent?
No, ma'am.
Who paid the rent?
For April, May, and June? Nobody paid April, May, and June because I was told by the landlord.
No, you can't tell me what the landlord told you.
Oh, okay.
Judge.
Okay.
So, listen to me. If you didn't pay April, May, and June when you were in Virginia, then the landlord clearly was going to evict you, which is what he says. And since his name had been on the lease, that's when he went into the apartment.
That's incorrect.
Show me.
This was the eviction notice that the landlord sent to me.
May I see it,
that
please?
was dated April 27th.
I'd like to see it.
I had just
a
gotten-
second. Just a
Okay.
second. Okay. Well, the end of April, they had not received any check for your stuff was there.
That's correct.
Your daughter's stuff was there.
My cat was in the apartment.
Well, listen to me. I don't want to hear about your cat. Because any idiot that goes away for 3 months and leaves a cat in the apartment...
That was clearly not my... That was clearly
You left
not
April
what I was
19th.
doing.
What arrangements did you make
I
in
was
with
supposed
home
to
with
be gone for like a week, which I left a key with my neighbor. She was an elder lady. She had my telephone number.
You were gone for April, May,
but
and
I was
June.
only supposed to be gone for about 2 weeks.
I don't care. First it was a week, now I don't care.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You made this baby, and you didn't make this baby with the idea of driving her mad.
She did to me, Your Honor.
Your
What?
Honor, this man put me through living
Just a
hell.
second.
I'm
Do you
done.
understand what I'm saying to you?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Holly Leftwich claims the father of her child, Casey Fand, stole her belongings and sold them.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I've always went a month without paying rent, and the landlord would let me go, like, for instance, January, I went a whole month without paying rent.
Listen to me. I have it. But you weren't paying rent. That was in April. You didn't pay in May, and you didn't pay in June.
Right.
Okay. Now, when you were living together, and you lived together in this apartment for about 2 years, did you live together in this apartment for about 2 years?
No, ma'am.
How long did you live together in this apartment?
1 year.
1 year. Did you live together in another place prior to that?
My place, yes.
You lived in your place?
Yes, ma'am.
When you moved from your place into this apartment, did you take your furniture?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, which furniture did you take?
Mattress.
Your mattress?
Dressers, things like
No. Don't take dressers. I want you to tell me exactly what you took from your apartment into this new place.
Okay. Rugs, bed.
Okay, what else?
I guess pots, pans.
Okay, I don't care about that. Rugs and a bed. What
chairs.
else?
What kind of bed?
No, is it a bed that the two of you used?
Yes, of
The
course.
two of you used that bed?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was your bed?
Right.
Okay. Shh, just a second. So I'm not interested in the things that were purchased subsequently. Child's things that were purchased subsequently. According to you, he makes more money than you did. So unless you can establish that you personally bought those things for your daughter.
I can, Your Honor.
I'd like to see it.
He was in prison for 5 years.
Go ahead.
While I was out pretty much driving.
An apartment for a year.
Yes.
If you were living in this apartment for a year together, he left in September of 2015, but your daughter was born and your daughter was living in the apartment with you.
That is correct.
That is correct. So now you're going to show me proof that during that period of time when you moved into this apartment, according to you, with a bed and some rugs, pots and pans. I don't get into pots and pans. Okay. So I want to see proof that you, because your complaint is that aside from this bed, which I will ask him about, I want to see proof that you personally purchased the child's furniture and anything else that you're claiming.
Your Honor, I can't. We had a 2-drawer file in our bedroom. September, when he left, he took the top file with all of our receipts, bank accountments, and things like that.
You take this up with the family court judge. Your case is dismissed. We understand each other? Take it up with the family court judge. When the family court judge issues an order of support, whoever the order of support is going to be entered against. But I'm going to suggest this to the two of you. You've wisely or unwisely made a child together. You don't have the right to take the child away from the other parent. He would not have that right to take the child away from you. That's what the court said to you. That's what the child said. And Florida is the home state, and Florida will make an order of custody because that's reasonable. Otherwise, the person who grabs the child first removes the child to another jurisdiction, and then you've got to go find them. That's why the states cooperate with each other in directing that the children be returned to their home state. I assume that the lawyer explained that to you. And if the lawyer didn't explain that to you, I'm explaining it to you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, the order of custody is going to be resolved. The only thing that's going to have to be addressed is who's going to pay support and in what amount and to whom. And regular, consistent timetable so this child doesn't become a pawn. This baby's only 18 months old. Right now, she doesn't go to school, but she will. And then it's going to have to be a more sensible order because unless the two of you can cooperate with each other, an order of joint custody is going to be impossible. So I'm going to suggest that you made this baby and you didn't make this baby with the idea of driving her mad.
She did to me, Your Honor.
Your Honor, this man put me through living
Just a
hell.
second.
I am not. Don't talk to me anymore. I'm done.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Whether you like each other or not, that's totally irrelevant to courts, whether you like each other or not. But you're supposed to be responsible enough.
Absolutely.
Responsible enough to...
Your Honor, he put the child on
I'm done.
Rick.
I'm done.
Like, I'm...
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy...